Hey, hey. Well, hey everybody. How's it going? Nice to see everybody. I got a real good surprise tonight. I got a real good surprise. Didn't know when or if I was going to share this to you. And I honestly I've never watched it back myself. This is me and my friend Rachelle. This is June 8th. This is very shortly before Glitchgate. So this is June, July, August, September, October. Is that possible that that's 5 months? I don't know how it's possible that that's 5 months, but apparently it's 5 months. Thank you, Gig Wars Official. That's my son. That's original music by my son Ryan Black. He writes that and plays it. Thank you for enjoying that. I appreciate it. So this is real fun. So, I haven't watched this back. I didn't share it with you before this because we were kind of storming and forming around the civil rights. Now, Robert Reese had a real important broadcast. Hey, and I was taking my nap and I didn't get to hear Robert Reese saying, inviting me on the show of his show, although I was taking a quick nap. We'd just done a 6 hour broadcast this morning, and we had lots of good stuff on there. We had Kevin on there. We had there from DoorDash Sucks and Gig Economy Police. He's here with us right now, and this is just real good stuff. We had a great time talking. The only thanks, Gig Wars Official. He's a grown man. He's 28-year-old guy, but I take credit. I take all the credit for sure. Yeah, there's never going to be a Pedro, probably. That's probably okay. So we're going to watch this together. I haven't watched it back. I just knew that. I know what I was going to tell you. So the thing that was real funny is that Rachelle is a longtime friend of mine, collaborator. She was a person, if you ever heard the radio interview where the person that was interviewing me hated me, she was the person on that interview that didn't hate me. She was the other person, the non-one, the one that didn't hate me. And she's been my friend for a long time. Uh, we've worked together on a lot of different projects. I helped her in some political campaigns. I ghostwrite for her. So we do hanging out. And so she and I were hanging out for like 5 or 6 hours, shooting the bull outside. And then we're like, geez, we didn't record this podcast yet. So by the time we went down and recorded this podcast, I was exhausted and I felt like it maybe sucked, but I don't think it sucked as bad as I thought. We just had been talking for a long time. So let's play it and figure out if it did or did not suck. That'll be really interesting for all of us. This is again from June 8th of this year. This is from whopping 5 months ago. And this is one of my key collaborators, I guess, in the civil rights front. Not that we specifically work together. I mostly her as a nobody works for me, but I work for other people, always for free. And so I've worked for her a lot. She's never worked for me, so to speak, but she's great. So let's watch this. I think you're going to enjoy it. This is part one, and part two is also in existence.
Certain amount of time.
Welcome to episode 16 of the Full Dash Closure audiobook and podcast. This is and it wasn't episode 16 because I didn't end up releasing it because I thought it was too far ahead of where we were at the moment. The first in-person podcast that I'll be doing because it's with my friend here in Portland, Oregon, Rachelle Dixon, community leader, civil rights leader, political operative at times, and somebody that works every day, I think, to make life better for the people of Portland and Oregon and the world. And Rachelle and I have a great time talking together, and I think this is a wonderful opportunity to share her with you and talk about some of the issues that are critical to the gig economy, critical to the subjects that we talk about in Full Dash Closure, labor and empowerment and slavery and global corporatocracy, all of those things. So Rachelle's got a fascinating background to add some very educated thoughts to those subjects, and she also has a wonderful set of opinions and a way of sharing them. So I'm happy to introduce to you my dear friend, Rachelle Dixon.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. That was a wonderful introduction. I don't think I can do it any better. So I'm Rachelle Dixon in Portland, Oregon, and I just simply like to think of myself as an advocate for the community. So that shows up in different ways. It shows up in thinking about how we use land, how policy affects how we deal with our current crisis in Portland, Oregon, which is certainly one of drug use, and a separate but related issue, one of houselessness. And really, we just have kind of despair and hopelessness, which is why I'm really glad to be here today, because I'm not sure that I see the light on the horizon in terms of labor. I see that we have a lot of challenges in Portland, Oregon. Let's just dive right in, right? So
Yeah.
in the intro, I alluded to some of the crisis that we have, and it's a directly related and correlated to the crisis we have with our labor system and our work system, and how everything is so intricately tied to our work. And what I mean by that, if you're unsure, like, what does that have to do with anything? Let's take, for example, the drug crisis that we're experiencing on our street. And as a result of that, we're also seeing houselessness related to that. Again, I think they're separate issues, because I think even without a drug crisis, we have a housing crisis. And that was in the making for 3-4 decades, with not building, not being, budgeting for low-income housing. But what we did was we tied our insurance, our health insurance, to employment. How does that work? How does that work when people aren't necessarily even employable anymore to then get the help that they need to have? So some of the answer is the programs that we have with Oregon Health Plan. And you see that there just isn't enough money poured into the mental health services. So there's no place for people to go, even if they have insurance to get it done. And it's just really, really complicated. But why is your employer involved in any of this? In your maternity care? Any of this? It's just insane. And your employer holds the key to your future. That was bad enough. That's the way it's been for a long time. But it's gotten even worse, right? It's got worse.
And then what happens when there's no employer?
Bingo. So when your apartment calls for your credit check and they want to speak to your employer, who do they call when it's just an app?
They can't call anybody.
There's probably a 1-800 call. I don't know. How does that work?
No, there is no way for DoorDash, for example. There is not a way that an employer could verify anything about a person's status with DoorDash other than looking at the app on their phone. So you would have to send screenshots of your phone or your app. The unique thing about this gig economy is it was created reasons. Number one, to destroy the employment relationship altogether, not just from a benefits perspective, but to sever that relationship between workers and corporations, such that corporations no longer even had to take the benefits and the well-being of their workforces into account, nor the capital investments or care and feeding that it takes. Let me finish with saying to maintain a workforce. And then number two, what happens when you take a workforce and you break it all apart and disaggregate it into little fractions? Well, the ability to organize into any type of union or any type of cohesion, the permanency that it takes to organize. Well, what did they do? Nobody talks about this. The gig economy is a union killer. That's what this is. And don't think there won't be a day when Starbucks can get, or any coffee shop could get a barista via a gig app. Baristas could be gig apps. Your home inspection could be via a gig app. Any job that a human does that is highly automated and repeatable could be turned into a gig app, where that human becomes a widget that you pay by minute of utility, rather than by human time and existence. And so all of a sudden, a 40-hour work week for an employee involves a morning and an afternoon and an evening and breaks and lunch and all of these things. For a gig economy worker, the workday can be 24/7, 365. So there is never a time when you're off. And if you're struggling in poverty, you might always 24/7, 365 have pangs of guilt, feeling like you need to go out and pound the pavement and work, even if it's for pennies an hour. You got to get something better than nothing. And boy, is that something better than nothing, a dangerous and slippery slope, like voting for a lesser evil. So we did two things here with the gig economy, which is the innovation that comes with artificial intelligence, which is the innovation that comes with the gig economy, right? We absolutely disemboweled the even concept of unions altogether, and we're very well on the path to destroying the employment relationship altogether and making humans nothing but a digital widget to any corporation, which is just a shell of corporatocracy and hedge funds and oligarchs holding AI. So there's not even a company anymore.
Hold that thought. I want to go back to something you said. When we talked about employers holding your health insurance, I just want to go back there and think, because you mentioned that employers don't want to do it anymore. And the interesting thing is we have agreement. Employers don't want to do it and employees don't want to have you hold it.
Right.
What went wrong? I mean, if we both agree, how did this happen? Well, Obamacare. Now, you know what Obamacare did? It allowed certain things to happen. There's all kinds of different provisions for Obamacare, but probably the two that you remember is that it raised the age that you could carry your children under your insurance. Parents were like, yes. And then, so your kids could get through college and still have insurance, because you used to have to purchase a separate little policy.
Right.
And so then you could just keep them on insurance, right? Okay. Now you're still paying, so just a little bit of a difference of who you paid to. Number two, the other thing that Obama did was said that you could keep your insurance after you left your job. Now this became the point. This became the point of inflection. This is when employers said, "What? You can keep your." Well, what is the point of having this service? We offer this. This is an attachment to working because we want you to work here with us. So we went out and got the insurance that we thought was awesome, that we thought you wanted. And if it doesn't benefit us in our bottom line, that was the only reason we were doing it. So we don't feel like we want to do it anymore. So we're going to try and figure out every kind of way we don't have to offer this insurance, because it's an administrative cost to us. And it is no longer a factor in deciding which company you work for. Back when I was an attractive package in Arlington, Virginia, man, they fought over me. And you know how I made the decision? Health insurance. Okay. As a young woman, I was like, okay, babies. I'm looking at the maternity package. That's who I'm going to go work for. But now it's not a competitive advantage to have health insurance anymore. You see where I'm going with this? So once it was not a competitive advantage because everybody had to have service, and you had to have levels of service. Remember, there's like a little basic level, a little silver level, a little bronze, gold. So you have to, well, everybody's got the same thing. Everybody now can get the same package. So me having it as an organization or company, I can't say mine is better than yours. I can just say, well, I think mine is better, but in practicality, when you look at what they're offering, by law, it has to be the same thing.
Right.
You might like the company a little different. You might feel more confident in one service over another. I do. But
most of them have multiple packages you can choose from anyway, so they all have the same options.
So this became a disadvantage to the employer. They're like, okay, so now we're administering insurance because why? We don't want to do it. That's really interesting because they love doing it because it gave them like a really heavy hammer.
Right.
For years, that was what kept me in chains at work.
And by the way, as a part of this, there was there was pre-existing conditions. So
Yes.
if you made your switch from one employer to either your self-employed or to another employer, those pre-existing conditions could be a very big deal unless you were able to get COBRA and bridge that. But if you ever had any gap insurance, or if you got remarried, got new jobs, whatever, switched to maybe dad's insurance instead of mom's insurance, all of a sudden, if you had a kid with developmental disabilities, nobody wanted to insure your kid.
So to speak
So
to that,
you couldn't get insurance for your kid.
Yeah.
And I dealt with this, right? Where nobody wants to insure your 11-year-old stepson.
Oh my God.
Right?
I'm speaking to the choir here. So what happens is when we divorce insurance, which is basically a big sledgehammer.
Divorce is part of insurance, and insurance is part of divorce.
Insurance from the employer's ability to sledgehammer, and I mean the sledgehammer against the employee. You can leave, but you can't have insurance. You can leave, but you can't. Okay, that kept me where I was.
Mm-hmm.
I worked. My husband had a very successful business, a restaurant in DC at the gallery where Princess Di shot. But I still had to work for insurance. I went to work for insurance. I left my baby 5 weeks for insurance. Not money, insurance. We just needed insurance. So employers needed that. They always wanted it, but not for the reason you think. Not because they're just benevolent associations that are concerned about your health. In fact, we find that they're not concerned about your health. To the contrary, most corporate organizations aren't concerned about your health. I don't care what they say. The EAP and all the different things are actually just ways of reducing liability versus, caring about your employees. I've been cared about on a job. I've been cared about, and I know what it feels like. I once went to work and I had been sick, and I went to work and I showed up, and my boss, she was like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh, work." And she's like, "You were sick. You were like really sick." And I was like, yeah. The doctor said I should just, maybe stay home and rest or something. And I said to her, I said these exact words. I kid you not. I said, "I think he just said that because I got really good insurance." And she looked at me. She was like, no, you go home. Go home. She sent me home. My boss sent me home. And by the way, I did have really good insurance because my boss had breast cancer. And because she had breast cancer, she knew what it was like to have a chronic illness and deal with insurance. So she got really great insurance. That's what an employer can be like. Mm-hmm. But most of us don't have that anymore.
Well, so that employment relationship, let's just talk about the base of an employment relationship. When there's an employee-employer relationship, that's a symbiotic relationship. An employer can't gain if the employees aren't successful. The employees can't be successful if the employer isn't viable. So that's both moving in the same directions. Now, again, let's look at this new world where one of the reasons unions came around, or probably I think the main reason unions came around, was not just wages, it was working conditions. It was how many hours per week, how many hours per day, what are the safety conditions, what's our ability to speak up and say, no, we're not willing to do this. Yes, we're willing to do that. This is how many hours. This is a schedule we need. This is the kind of breaks we need. So all of those things that unions did weren't necessarily just financial. And people only want to talk about the finances of employees and workers.
Let's interrupt because I got to say something that people forget. There is a safety and moral basis to labor. So I majored in employment law, labor law, and in College Park, University of Maryland. They have a wonderful George Manny Center in Virginia that deals with labor law. But the basis of labor law is civil rights. People are shocked. They're like, aren't civil rights? No. This is a civil rights issue. For the most part, labor law was steeped in abuses of people, not even abuses of their time, as in wage theft, not even abuses of their kinds. But there were many, many safety issues and women being abused. And so Christian groups and other groups got together and said, this is one of the reasons they fought women working, was not because they didn't want women to work, but they witnessed the abuse of women locked in facilities with no bathrooms, with men leering at them all day, just waiting for a chance to abuse them. And since they were needing this money, they would stay there. And I think a lot of people whose parents came in the 1800s, 1910, your grandparents might have told the story about, unfortunately, being locked someplace sewing. So we have to remember that it started as a civil rights movement. It started as a movement, frankly, of Christianity. You had the Christian social welfare workers. They had all kinds of different names. Today, you kind of can equate them with Karens, because back in the day, I'm pretty sure they got a lot of heat, but they were the opposite in that they weren't being negative and annoying in terms of wanting to push a racial divide or push a certain narrative, but they actually believed that women and children had rights, and they were employing 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds. So this became a safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
And should 5-year-olds be working? Should 5-year-olds be working and 6-year-olds be working? And the answer is no. Now, before someone says, well, why are you talking about that, Rachelle? Because that is not something we have to deal with today. Oh, wait a minute. Incorrect. Okay, what are we dealing with today? What are we having laws to suggest that we lower the age of working?
To 12 to 10, somewhere in there, I think, both of those. Yeah, and so I agree with you that civil rights is the core of worker unionization
and morality.
But what happened? Capitalism. So unions became organizations, became bureaucracies that got involved in enriching the people who became powerful in the unions. Unions also had a very big racial bias. The people that rose to the top of the unions and top of places had particularly light complexions in general. And the people that, and so they created union jobs, but they created union jobs with classes. And guess who got stuck in the union jobs with the lower classes? So unions weren't perfect, but
no, they weren't perfect. I want to say that in Seattle, Washington, my dad got to get a plug for the Marines. Okay, Semper Fi. Okay, war exists, people. We know what happens, and I just want to say that if America wouldn't do so much damage abroad, we could pull our military people home. I'd be excited to do that. Unfortunately, we still continue to do things abroad that make us at risk for being annihilated. So I appreciate that there are people out there that allow me to sleep at night. I'm sorry, I said it. I want to sleep. I don't want to think about getting, annihilated in the middle of the night. I did that job before. I worked in DC, and I thought about getting annihilated every day. I worked across from Army Navy Drive on 9/11. I evacuated. So I just want to say, don't come at me, bro. Just don't. I'm tired. I'm in Portland for a reason, right? Because I don't have to jump at a flyover. I can just kind of lay back. Okay. But definitely, the employer does not have the moral standing anymore to speak to the issues at hand, and the church is losing the moral standing. Do they have any to speak to this issue?
I don't think they do. And then
because that's what happened before. Women went in and said, "We're Christians, and God forbid you should have children laboring." And they was like, "Oh, yeah, this is our grandma. We don't want to fight our grandma." But now I think they're willing to fight their grandmothers. I think they're willing to take us back to when children are working. But I have to say something. I started working at 8. Yeah, 8 in the fields. This is Oregon, okay? So back then, that's what we did. The next year, when I was 9, I did not work in the fields because a girl was assaulted in the fields, a young child. They raised the limit to working in the fields to 10. So I missed working when I was 9. I went when I was 8, and I went when I was 10. And here's my next question. So if these children aren't working in the fields, and you're not working at some of the places they commonly work, McDonald's, what are we going to do with them? The problem that we're having is not should children work or should children not work. The problem is, why don't we have programs so that children don't need to work? What are we saying when we need to send 8-year-olds back to work?
Bad things.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bad things.
I'm not against children working in the fields. It was great for me. I considered it like a camp. You know, I still love to work in the fields, and that's where I got it from. But I think every child should have the opportunity to have work on a limited scale. And I would say not 10, that's too young, but I'd say anything after 13 should have the opportunity to see some of their labor, have, you know, to get some benefit from their labor.
Yeah. So now, if we were going to do that, again, what did unions do for us? What did even the employee-employer relationship do for us? It gave the corporations a reason to have common goals with their workforce. With this gig economy now, like I said, you know, before, if you're an employer and an employee's fates are tied together, right? One's not going to long-term gain without the other one being successful as well, whatever success looks like there. But in a gig economy, or I think you could also argue in something like migrant labor, those standards are waived because we see those people as a lower caste. We see these as not of the same caliber and quality and need as employment, but they're a direct substitute for employment, right? So they're employment, right? This is people working for money. But the problem is now the corporations have no incentive whatsoever for anything regarding the well-being of these people. These people are just digital widgets. They're interchangeable, they're disposable. You don't want to know them, you don't know their names, you don't train them, you don't employ them, you don't invest in them.
It's a scam. It's to me, I just want to say the word scam. A lot of what I grew up learning about the United States turned out to be a scam or a house of cards or just some other kind of fantasy supported by the idea that we're all walking around and we're pretending like the emperor doesn't have clothes, right? I mean, has clothes on, and when we all can see that he's very much naked. And so I think it's like that. We're all pretending like this is working for us. This is not working for anybody. Okay?
No, and even the people that think that it is working for them because they're in the gig economy, they're getting gross pay today prior to their own expenses. What we're setting up for the future is a future where our children don't have employment. And without employment, not only becomes the impossibility of any type of unionization or worker coalitions that can really improve conditions, because again, the gig economy was created to take that out of the picture. No employees, no unions, no whatever, right? We could come to a time where in order to feed yourself, you have to work parts of 7 days a week. You never have the security of a job. Any job could be, you could just be replaced from one to another. There is no way for you to improve your value or improve your place because you're just a ubiquitous piece. There is no incentive for a shell company in the gig economy or a global corporation to have any concern for its customers, for its employees, or for anything other than just being a shell that has AI that produces income from human activity. That's not a business, and by the way, it's simply not survivable because without those links to steady employment, without those links to jobs, without those links to income, we can't have local businesses, we can't have local economies, we can't take care of our kids. We
Everything is built on a system, whether you want it built on the system or not, of employment. So the employment was more like a parent-child relationship. And so the parent had the insurance, they had the money, and they were supposed to take care of you. Now we know that that's a bit of a myth, but that was the idea, that there was a parent-child relationship, and that they were the parent was responsible for certain things, and the child was responsible for certain things. And in this world, the child, the labor, was responsible for following the orders of the parents. As long as they executed properly, the parent provided all the things that they needed.
That's right.
In this case, this parent is not a very loving parent, and if you don't provide those things, well, you're out. So we had that, and we had that back and forth. Now we don't have that back and forth. There is no parent. There's some random thing in the cloud, and no one's taking responsibility. But yet there's a corporation still benefiting. Before we forget, let's go back to this. What are unions saying about AI? What are unions saying about the gig economy? What are unions doing?
I mean, this is the challenge, right? Is that unions went from representing people that had some sort of a middle class income to now they're fighting to represent essentially fast food workers, right? Starbucks. What other small? Oregon has a fast food chain named Burgerville that unionized. But these jobs, the problem with unionizing, those jobs is, again, they're very transient jobs, and so to unionize doesn't really bring the benefits of gainful employment that would allow one to support a household. So unions are just playing below the poverty line, and I think if unions are playing below the poverty line, there's just really nothing that they can do to help right now. But again, this comes back to the gig economy. If we allow corporations to use humans and exploit humans rather than employ humans, if we allow this blatant crime against humanity, these dangerous, because delivery is a very dangerous job. Driving, very dangerous job. These are top 10 dangerous jobs that we're putting upon individuals with their own assets, their own cars, their own time, all their own risk, and many of them are not successful. Some are, but many aren't.
I have a confession. I do not like the services that deliver food. I think they put more congestions on the road. I think they put more pollution into the air. I think they're disrespectful to employees. There's a number of ways I don't like them. I have used them a couple times. I had some problems with my leg, and I wasn't able to move without having very much pain. And so I just decided to have them deliver the food. And that lasted like 3 or 4 days. I think over a Friday weekend, and I never did it again. And when the food arrived, I looked at the packaging for the food, and it was so beautiful. It was like a Tiffany's type bag, but it was gray, and it was really, and I thought, I'm going to save the packaging, but I was concerned that I paid too much for the food because the packaging was so beautiful. And I was also concerned that this was not a real restaurant, but it was essentially a ghost kitchen, and that there was no real energy in this food. So I just stuffed my face with the food and went on with my life, because that's the point. Sometimes you just need something to eat. So I understand why people are using these services from a perspective of a worker that's tired and gets that little coupon on Uber and tells them to, after your 12-hour shift, right?
Yeah. And this is, they know that, right? Right now, even the overpriced order that you placed was subsidized by the corporation, because they're buying this market. They're buying the monopolization on global app slavery. They're buying markets. They're pushing out local businesses in favor of their businesses that are on their app in their own little rigged simulated market. And in a rigged simulated market, there's only one winner, and that winner is whoever's running the AI. The AI is just now a tool to exploit humans and markets. And the amazing thing about this crime against humanity is it's now going on all over the world, and nobody has stepped up to stop it. The people have stepped up to try legislation, but very, very impotently. But so why could this total crime against humanity that destroys the employer-employee relationship, that takes all accountability away from global corporations, that endangers local economies, that endangers citizens or anyone on the streets with distracted drivers and cell phones, that is not economically viable? How, other than the pandemic, because the pandemic was, their lottery, they won the lottery. Other than the pandemic, how did this come into being without any consumer advocates, any legislator? I mean, this entity of the gig economy came into being through just the entropy of a market, and now nobody has looked at it and said, "Oh my God, what did we let happen?" And it's still going on today, and nobody is asking this question. Like, this is not a legitimate business. This is a scam.
Take a second and look at a couple of things. One, people who are detractors from capitalism and corporations don't have very long tenures in employment, right? So these are the people who invite unions in. These are the people who take notes and share them with other folks about, fixing problems. Maybe it's a government institution, they take it to City Hall. So these aren't necessarily the people who are on the same team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So those people aren't the people who are getting the press. Who's getting the press is the people who have all the money.
Right.
And they're advertising everything from their perspective about how wonderful this is going to be.
Right. Endless propaganda. They sponsor every sporting event, every Super Bowl, every concert.
Artists are scared. As an artist, there are times when I think, why even create something? If I take a picture of a piece of art that I create, someone else can use this art to benefit on it while I'm not benefiting. I've already seen people who are having this issue. This is a real issue. So before, when you took a piece of art and then you use the image, somebody paid you for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you take a piece of art and you put it through AI, it's a different image. Nobody gets paid.
Right.
This is the trick that's happening in the gig economy. Okay, so now the parent-child relationship has been severed. You're still supposed to supply the labor. The parent is not supplying anything.
And you know what the sick part
They're
is?
not making meals. They're not getting you up for school.
And here's a really nasty analogy, and this is absolutely true.
Uh-oh, how nasty.
Well, the abused app slaves of the gig economy fight to stay abused app slaves of the gig economy. They have pride in their work. They have pride in the fact that they have employment, because a lot of them have struggled. And I was one of those, struggled to have consistent employment when they dip into the gig economy. And so there's a pride with being out and being productive, being somewhat in control of your life again, even if that means being able to take your kids out to pizza.
Avon.
Avon. Yeah. Even if that means
Mary Kay.
Yeah. So empowering women. I want to be able to buy pizza for my kids. That's what I want. And if I do that, I feel like, hey, at least I'm a dad still. Like I could, we're not swimming in whatever, but damn it, we can have a pizza party with a movie night. And so they took that desire that everybody has. And now, as with everything artificial intelligence, it's being used against people. It's being all of the human frailties, all of the human desires, all of our wants for inclusion and everything else. And that's why we get into these things called gamification. Vina Dubal, a brilliant legal mind who will be a guest on the podcast in the future, coined the term gamification, because the way that these algorithms work within the systems, whether it be Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or Grubhub, is well, the subtitle of her article is "The House Always Wins," and the house always wins. This is like a casino. There are odds. The odds are fixed. This is a fixed game that's created. This is not real. It's a simulation. Everything that happens there is orchestrated by the omnipotent God of this AI. And so, because of that, what human being would take accountability? Because no human being can explain it. There's an impossibility to explain and to understand exactly how these algorithms work.
Well,
because we're Dr. Frankenstein. We can make the monster.
I can explain a little bit.
Well, but I want to just make the point that like this is a technical part from AI theory, right? We can maybe make Frankenstein the monster, but we can't tell you what Frankenstein's going to do once we make Frankenstein, because we know all the parts we put in, we know how we think it should work, but once it functions, it's such a complex system that even though it's not human, it works in a much more complex way than we can ever conceive of. And so the problem here, everything is being used against humans to pull them into this gig economy, to say, you can have these things you've been waiting, you can have this flexibility, you can have this fraction of a job, you can have this little bit of a time, but it's all a trap. It pulls you in, it pulls these jobs away, and these are replacements, right? All of these workers, everybody that did delivery, taxi drivers, there were, for the existence of Earth up until a few years ago, 85% of restaurants and 99% of retailers never had delivery. Okay. And so then we had the pandemic and the world changed. But I can assure you, right, when there were needs for transportation, was it as easy, whatever? Well, no, but we're enabled with smartphones now. Just because we're enabled with better technology doesn't mean we have to give our souls and our lives to AI, right? There's technology now to run viable businesses that offer viable services in a viable community.
Well,
none of that would be the gig economy.
Let's define AI again, because I think I can define it a little different than you. I'm going to give you my definition of AI.
Yeah.
So if you think AI is a thing, it's a thing, but it describes a set of computer programs written largely by men, written largely by white men, using information from European countries.
Probably the specifications, at least, yeah. A lot of the engineers are.
No, the code is written by the people who've always controlled everything.
Yeah.
And those are not women, and those are not people of color. So me and you aren't writing AI, okay?
Well, they're tech bros in the case of the gig industry.
And if we were, to what end?
Right.
Somebody like Elon Musk has a benefit in getting codes that benefit him. The people who are writing the code are only writing parts of it. It's plug in different things. No one truly knows what the AI is. This is much like some government programs, which shall remain unnamed, that everyone has just such a small part. No one knows what the total is.
That's right.
Until you see what the total is, because someone makes a movie about it, for example, you have no idea what your part is. You just have this much. And so you don't feel like you're harming society. In fact, you think you may be bettering society. AI cannot really be described because it is not an outcome. It is a set of decision-making points. Now, imagine...
Which is why you can't be independent.
Yes, but imagine how me and you would make different decisions about the same thing. It could look real different. Just like if we were writing a code for go out on a date. Now, let's just go feminist here for a minute. So go out on a date. What are you going to do to go on a date?
Me?
Yeah. It's date night.
Well, first?
Yeah. What you going
to do? I will shower.
You're going to shower?
I will shower.
Did you make reservations?
No, this is Portland. You don't need reservations.
Okay.
I don't got enough money to go to the places where you need reservations right now.
What are you going to do on this date?
Oh, what am I going to do? Wow, this is big.
Just pick something.
You'd see what I've been doing for dates. What am I going to do? We're going to go to the brew pub and hear music.
The brew pub. Okay. It's local.
I'm a casual guy. Yeah, local.
You gonna pick her up? Not pick her up?
No, I'd pick her up for sure.
Okay. So if I'm going on a a date with Jeff. First of all, you're not picking me up. Nope, I'm going to drive there. And I'm going to park around the corner.
she ain't trusting me to give her a ride home. Hell no.
I'm going to park around the corner
This
and
is
hide my car.
much too much honesty between friends. Except
no.
right.
There's a legal case to this one.
Right. No, that's right.
This actually happened to me. So I parked in the front where he could see my driver's license. You cannot do this anymore. There's a law that says you cannot go down to the police station, say someone hit your car, and give them information, and they give you back where the person lives and the phone and all that. Okay, the reason why they can't do this is because a man took down my driver's license, not my driver's license, my plate information, went down to the DMV, got my information, and used it to stalk me. Okay, so Jeff can't pick me up from my house. I have to drive myself. Okay. So before I drive myself, though, I have to call my sister and tell my sister where I'm at and where I'm going, how I'm going to be there, your name. If I got your social security number, I'm going to pass that along too.
Yeah. A photo of me.
Okay, I text all that stuff. Okay. Yeah, we got to do all the shower and prepping and all that stuff too. But I got to tell my sister where I'm going. And then, fill up with gas, make sure the car's all good and stuff.
So you're thinking about a lot more things than I am. I don't think about very many things.
So what I want to say in all of that, I drive to the date, you drive to the date, you're like, she's weird. I can't even pick her up. She don't want me touching her car. She don't want me to know where she at. She's going to come and sit down at this table. And then when you sit down at the table, I'm at the brew pub.
You want to tell me your last name?
You're at the brew pub and you're like, you want a drink? And I'm like, no. Why do you want me to take a drink, Jeff? What is up with you, dude?
Well, I mean, we're laughing because we're old and because
I brought my own drink.
We did it right, but it's like I'm taking my drink to the bathroom.
Yes, I'm taking my drink to the bathroom.
The problem is it's not funny.
This is sad. This is sad. Okay, so what did we learn from this experiment? What did we learn?
Well, we learned that a woman and a man are, well, in our case, a man like me and a woman like you are going to look at a date in very different ways.
That's right. Now, how does that apply to AI? What will it look like if men are programming the parameters for certain things versus women? On that date, I mean, there was a lot of energy expended for me. I didn't even talk to you about.
I wasn't even worried about it.
I didn't even talk to you about sharpening my nails. And then they got polished.
Slash my neck if you had to.
They got polished now, so you can take the polish and swirl your drink with the polish, and then if it turns up a certain color, then you've been roofied. There are drugs in that drink. So
okay.
All that traumatizing you to point out this example, and I apologize if anybody's traumatized, to point out the experience, my experience and his experience going on a date are two different things.
Very different things.
And so having a group of people that look like him, now his background is a little different than he may appear to be, and mine is a little different than mine appears to be, but having two different people with two different sets of realities program, AI would be better than having just one opinion.
And by the way, and we're the same generation, very close to the same age.
That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be people with money making the decision that they want the outcome to be X, Y, and Z, and reverse engineering that, right? Mm-hmm. So if I want to show you a certain product, now Google does this, they're taking flack for it, but you know that they do it, right? So there's paid sponsorships.
Right.
But when it first came out, you couldn't tell the paid sponsorships from the actual research. And Google is location specific. It's very limited in resources. So if I'm standing on one street corner and you're standing on another street corner, even though we can wave at each other, we're actually getting a different set of information based on our location. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about AI, realize that you're talking about white, wealthy oligarchs programming what you see, hear, do, eat.
The selection of market choices you even can view. I mean, your entire, and if you're in an app, in an app at all, you're in their world in totality. There's no link necessary between their app world and the real world. Their app can be busy and the real world can be vacant, or the real world could be vacant and their app can be busy. It's a completely independent, isolated little market, which is why they're able to utilize and abuse labor so effectively. Because labor is what what the gig economy does is it gives them a completely scalable amount of labor to whatever demand that they have in their simulation. Oh,
it's a superpower of nuclear bomb proportion.
Yeah,
I don't mean that lightly. AI and the way that we're doing things with the gig economy, those things, it's like Fisher. We are making something that has the effect of a nuclear bomb, the development of nuclear energy. This is how much AI will affect the world and impact the world. It'll impact your medical decisions.
And there are people that think that they're winning because they do it full time and can make $70,000 or $80,000 a year. And they think that they're winning and they're the winners of the gig economy. And in their life, and not to criticize them, maybe that is more than a day job that you can get. But how many hours are they working? What risk are they taking? What are they doing to their health? What are they doing to their lifestyle? Do they have any companionship? What camaraderie and what support systems are part of the gig economy? When I was doing this, it's terribly isolating. I mean, you feel like a leper. You're kind of invisible.
People don't even have that angst. I don't think they have that angst. I think they're coming up in a society that doesn't even allow them to say that they're having that angst. They don't even know that they're missing that. Right. So their relationships are deteriorating with their friends and with their family, and they think it's a natural process. It's the way it's always been. We don't get together. I hear a lot of people that are Black saying, since grandma died. It's not just grandmother dying. Mm-hmm. It's not just, we don't have a location. That may be true. You don't.
Everybody's working all hours of the days and weeks, and
everybody's working all hours of the days and get the side bag and get the hustle. And what do we do? The hustle, so then that we can go get the nails done and we can get the other pretty things done. And natural beauty is on the out, right? So natural beauty is on the out. It's on the out. City girls are up. Well, that's what they say. City girls are up.
All right, I'm going to take your word for it.
You're going to have to look up city girls if you don't know what that means.
No.
So city girl is like Megan the Stallion. That reminds me, say Happy Pride Month. Bonus if you know what a stallion is versus a stud. I don't think most people know that.
I can guess, but I don't know that. And I'm not ashamed to say that I am not culturally aware of that.
Well, it has kind of an ugly history to it, I think. But
give us some ugly history. I mean, this is the Full Dash Closure podcast here. Who's ready for some ugly racial history? My friend Rachelle.
I got it all.
Rachelle got the ugly racial history. In fact, I mean, Rachelle and I can talk civil rights like all day. So let's get this. This is part one of a multi-part podcast. We're going to finish part one with Rachelle's story of ugly racial history, and we'll be back for part two.
Okay, so I just want to say that language is sometimes really hard. I'll think something in my head, and then I know right as soon as I say it, I create the origin of that thing. So grandfathered in, I'll leave you with that one to Google for yourself and find out grandfathered in is a racist term, okay? Much like circling the wagons, I loved using that one. And then I was like, oh, wait, maybe not circling the wagons, maybe do it some other ways. But they're just some terms. Which one was the term I was going to show with you? I want to show grandfathered in, and the other one, was the stallion and the
yes. So you were going to explain pride, the almost 55-year-old guy.
Well, it's cultural.
What a stallion and a stud are.
So Megan the Stallion is a popular.
Does that Z?
The like the
THE. All right, got it.
Megan the Stallion.
All caps.
Yes.
Okay.
The. So when we say the, we're saying the Stallion is a popular artist. She's a singer and a rapper, and
is she I think she's very much a Pride supporter.
I don't know that she's very much a Pride supporter, but the idea that people don't know what they're saying when they say Megan the Stallion.
Oh, and so she's very much like a female
You got
empowerment
it.
figure,
You said
right?
female. So a female, if you're when you're talking about gender
Oh
and
yeah,
sexuality,
they whoa, they just clicked upstairs
yes,
for the stupid
you got
guy.
it. So when you talk about, I laugh every time I say her name because I don't think people know the origin of that name, and she's saying what you think she's saying.
Yeah. Well,
So
I didn't even put it together.
The opposite of a stallion is what?
Filly? It's a female
Who
horse.
doesn't know his horses?
A female horse.
It's a stud. It's a stud. It's a stud.
Oh,
so
isn't a stallion a male?
Wait a minute.
Okay, I'm all confused. I'm so.
I know
confused.
you got because doesn't work the same way in every culture. So Megan the Stallion is a female. If she was Megan the Stud, what would she be?
Apparently male. No, wait. I don't know. Okay.
Happy Pride Month to all the stallions and all the studs.
Okay, and
I'm going to have him look it up, and I'll explain it to you.
I support every single one of you vociferously and passionately.
It's just different.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
So I'm going to give you another clue. In the white community, you might call a stud butch.
Oh, okay, sure.
So they're.
So it'd be it would be a feminine version versus
yes
versus the butch version.
Yes. Yeah.
So she's the feminine version.
Well, she's not a version. She's just saying she's a female feminine. Yeah. There's not that many options. She could be a female and be masculine, and then she would be a stud.
So this is kind of like you're saying there are many. It's not digital. It's not binary. It's not she's X or Y. It's a whole bunch of different gradients of.
In America, there are all these different terms, but different cultures have different terms for different things. So if you see a butch woman, if she was black, you wouldn't call her butch. Butch would be more like an insult. But maybe there are people who wouldn't feel insulted by that. But I think that the language is kind of changing, like from Negro to black to African American. It just evolves. And so if you call someone a Negro now, they're like, that's kind of brings me back to 1950.
Sounds too close to other things that were.
It sounds too close to Jim Crow. So then they want to move away from that. But so a stud is just a masculine female. And so I just said happy Pride to everybody.
Okay. All right.
A little different. So if you're indigenous, you might have, for example, two-spirit people, which is different than what you would say in English. So anyway.
Right.
Now we had a little lesson and it got all awkward. So we'll see you in part 2, and hopefully it'll be less awkward. Can't make promises though.
We can hope. This was episode 16 of the Full Dash Closure audiobook and podcast. And we'll be back.
Well, that's pretty good so far. I'm happy with that so far. That was fun. You know, when you're in the middle of doing that stuff, you can't tell what the hell is good and what's not good. And we had been talking for hours and hours and hours, and I'm like, are we just boring now? Because we were laughing our heads off outside, and then you get in front of the microphone, and we're all kind of like half serious. So I don't know. It seemed weird, but it's all good. I really like it. It's all real good, and we obviously know each other real well, which makes for a real comfortable conversation. So let's keep going to part 2. Oh, let's see here. That looks like part 2. Is that part 2?
Welcome to episode 17 of the Full Dash Closure audiobook and podcast, a continuation of my conversation with my dear friend Rachelle Dixon. And we left off the other episode. We didn't solve the mystery of what was the horror behind the term of being grandfathered in. What did that mean?
So previously in America, certain people weren't able to own land or hold possession of certain things. But oftentimes a family member would allow the possession to be passed down to this person in spite of the law, saying that as a relative, they should be able to have this possession. The law did favor that you were able to hand down your possessions to your relative. So if a person became biracial by way of their relatives and was unable to handle or have a piece of land or possession, they would say were their grandfathered in to this area because their grandparents lived here. And so it was a right, kind of like a right to return or right to inherit. And so when I hear it, and when I hear English, there's a lot of wincing that goes along. And for people who don't understand the language and the root of the language, it's not as impactful for them. But when I say grandfathered in, it just hurts me a little bit. It just means that you are white enough and you're the descendants of white supremacy so that you can inherit this property. And there's lots of examples of that, oftentimes through colleges, housing. I think the biggest example would be Strom Thurmond.
Yeah.
Strom Thurmond. And yeah,
Longtime senator from South Carolina, right?
Yeah, Thurman.
D, I believe.
Oh, it's a D?
Strom Thurmond. Oh gosh,
Okay.
no, so we're gonna.
I don't know, but the issue being that
Well, Strom passed away, so
yeah, he passed
it's been
away
a while
some time
since I thought
ago.
of him
But after when his daughter
with a D.
was pretty close to passing away herself, she was able to reveal after her dad passed away. He passed away at like 90 something.
Yeah, he was old. He stayed in the Senate into his 90s, I believe.
Yeah, I think he might have been like 92 or 93 when he passed away. But in any event, his daughter had sworn to secrecy that she would not reveal that she was his daughter because his position depended on her silence. Stick a pin in that because I'm tired of my existence depending on my silence.
Yeah.
Who said that women of color had to uphold the existence of men who behave badly, no matter what their color is? We see a lot of men behaving badly. I don't know what the numbers are. Does DoorDash give you the numbers of men behaving badly toward women? I don't think they do. If they did, the business would be closed tomorrow. The business would be closed tomorrow. But
well, the gig economy is a predator of both women and people of color. So traditionally disadvantaged segments of the global workforce are the targets for the gig economy. So they're the targets for mistreatment that I would argue amounts to a very sobering word, which is slavery. And I called it app slavery, just like I call the expansion into 27 nations by DoorDash app colonization. An AI program in a shell corporation, doesn't matter who they are, DoorDash could use that technology to run any company workforce, any national workforce, any international workforce that could be given smart devices to receive their instructions. And so what's really being constructed here is a future of labor without employment, labor without accountability, labor even without compensation. And what would you call labor without compensation? What do we call it what would we call it if there's drivers out there, and there's a lot of them, that on any given independent contract, and the definition of independent means that this thing and this thing may follow each other, but just because this is here doesn't mean this is coming, right? Everything is an independent thing. So this next order that you get has nothing to do with the next one. Now, the gamification that they add to this is that in their deception, the gig economy presents to the labor force obfuscated and limited information to coerce them into accepting contracts that are non-economically viable. And by non-economically viable, I mean that they don't even make a fraction of enough to compensate for anyone's time, or they may even lose money. And so,
but it's more than that. It's more than the loss of money.
Yeah.
So it's the
Well,
loss
because
of
what
benefits.
does it take to get somebody to do something against their financial and economic interest?
Well,
You have to control their mind.
you have to first of all put them in the position where they need the money. So people who are marginalized are
Desperation
often,
is big.
yes, they're often the people who are choosing these part-time jobs, and they view them as part-time jobs, but they're not actually part-time jobs. So these are little opportunities to make a few dollars and wait. It may have started out that you were able to make a fair amount of money. That has obviously changed, but you definitely don't get benefits. You don't get workplace protections. You don't get breaks. You don't get fair working conditions. You don't get a union.
There's
You
no
don't get a
investment
living
in your
wage.
there's
You
no,
don't. I could keep going on. You just don't get any of the things that you need in the society, and you harm society. Well, the organization harms society overall because there's so many cars out on the road
yeah.
due to this, and businesses on the other side are paying a fair amount to use the service. If it was just a service, I should be able to get it in my Excel spreadsheet. I should be able to download it in different ways. It should be customizable
No, this
to
is
my liking. And I should be, if it's a marketplace, can I bid on what I want to pay? Because it says I need to pay $250, and I don't want to pay $250. I want to pay between $238 and $247. Is there a way for me to change that? And so I'm only taking the food, and when they're going to deliver it for $2.12 or whatever it is. And that
well,
doesn't change.
it's adapt every time you place
No,
an order.
they put the fee on there, not me.
Right.
I don't want to pay that.
Right.
So
And
what if I want it? So who's controlling it?
it's not a real marketplace, it's a simulation.
It's not a marketplace, because in a marketplace, you go back and forth. My ex-husband told me his mom was so good. He said, I was getting good at it. His mom was so good, they kicked him out. They kicked her out. They told her, go, don't come back. They told her, go and don't come back, because she was going back and forth with the price. Can I go back and forth?
You what out of a store, you mean? She was
At DoorDash. Yeah, she got kicked out of the store. It was over, and she's Arab, so she's allowed to go back and forth, but she had him on the ropes. I want to know if DoorDash will meet my demands, since it's a marketplace.
Well, so DoorDash doesn't exist. You can't speak to DoorDash. The only representative that you could speak to would be a third-party contractor that is contracted by DoorDash to give support.
So I want to know if I can bargain with someone. What about the person who's making the delivery? Can I bargain with them? No.
Well,
I thought a marketplace worked like you were able to chat with people and talk to people.
But this is the thing. This is
so who's putting together the deal? So the company
I think we're
DoorDash is putting together the deal. So no matter what they say, they have established the conditions. I can't get it in a different format.
No.
I can't pay a different amount.
No.
I can't decide the length of my service. Maybe I want this hamburger delivered, this vegan hamburger delivered 10 years and 1 day from now. Can I set that up? Since it's an independent contractor, why can't I set it up for 10 years in advance? I want everybody at this event to have these burgers. Maybe it's a funeral for someone who's chosen that day.
In 10 years?
And, yes, 10 years in 1 day. And they need 300 burgers because that was their favorite food. And I can't set it up. Why can't I? I'm pretty sure I can get a contractor to set that up. You can set up anything for your funeral. You can plan your funeral right now. This person wants cheeseburgers.
This is not a real world. This is not a real world where
DoorDash is not customizable.
No.
So DoorDash has set the parameters for the date and time of which this work shall be done. Sounds like an employer to me, but that's just me. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and so that enslavement of the mind allows the enslavement of the body in terms of DoorDash, because the gamification, the gamification, it allows DoorDash to constantly seek out the frailties and the vulnerabilities in any interaction. And DoorDash is constantly responding against either the consumer or the or the delivery driver to manipulate them and exploit them to DoorDash's greatest advantage. So they're manipulating every aspect of this market, even including market pollution, where they add ghost restaurants and brands that don't exist in the real world, but you can get them in the virtual world. You can get in the virtual world a Mr. Beast burger. In the real world, that's coming from IHOP, so it's an IHOP burger. You can't make it a Mr. Beast burger because Mr. Beast don't exist. You can't find Mr. Beast. There's no address. There's no sign. There's nothing else. It's an IHOP hamburger. So I can brand an IHOP hamburger with anything I want, right? It doesn't. But that's because DoorDash is not selling food.
Nope, right? They don't just sell food.
They don't give a damn about what they're delivering.
There was an incident. So what was the incident? What did I run out of? I'm sitting here with my bare face. I ran out of something.
You ran out of makeup.
Mascara.
There
was
you
no
go.
Mascara because I'll be honest, it's been COVID. Nobody's trying to do all that. But in any event, I ran out of mascara, and it reminded me that Sephora said through Uber that they would just send me some mascara. That's what's happening. And DoorDash has got a relationship with them too. And they're now sending products from 7-Eleven. You can get cough syrup. How many cars are on the road getting cough syrup? How many people are getting their mascara delivered by Sephora?
It's not economically viable, right?
Climate change.
Not just climate change, not just the resources, but there's a negative. These companies are subsidizing this business with every order. And so why are they subsidizing? Because what they're really doing is buying a monopoly on the upcoming digital market for human labor, right?
I have a joke.
AI is just a digital market for human labor where it's commodified and devalued to its maximum extent. And there's no protections. And it is like a social nuclear bomb, I believe, to trap people in this world of joblessness and of non-economically viable activity. Because people have, the thing that it really strikes me is that even though the company doesn't exist, and whatever part of DoorDash does exist is abusive, dishonest, deceptive, people take pride in what they do. Isn't that interesting? That human beings, even if I'm just going to deliver a hamburger to your door, I'm going to take pride that I showed up, I got it on time, I got it, delivered it, boom, I made some money. So there's in this whole hell system of mental and physical slavery that DoorDash traps people in. What is it about the human dignity of work and employment and empowerment and even earning a small bit of money that draws people into this absolute hell?
That is the undercurrent. So the what is the product? I insist that the product is not the labor marketplace, because if that was a labor marketplace, someone would be able to bid on the conditions. If I'm bidding for a caterer, the caterer does not tell me.
It's a monopoly. It's the opposite of a marketplace.
I'm a caterer. You want me? Okay, you're going to tell me what to do. You tell me where you want it, right? Because you're the one who's paying. In a marketplace, you go back and forth, and the caterer might say, hey, I don't work on Sunday. It's against my religion. Mm-hmm. I can do Saturday night at this time, or I can refer you to another place that does this food. And they sometimes on Sunday, they'll replace me and they will sell my recipes. Would that work? That's a conversation. That's a marketplace.
And in that conversation, by the way, what you're representing has to be honest. You can't deceptively represent your product or service and have that be a valid contract. And again, this gig economy was founded on the entire premise that obfuscating information held by a corporation to trick labor is legitimate. This is the most ridiculous premise for an industry. I mean, information is the key. And with artificial intelligence, it's using the information of unimaginable proportions to individually beat your pants off, whether you're a consumer or a laborer. And if that's not terrifying to you, you really need to look into that more. And that's the point of full dash closure. The point of full dash closure isn't that maybe any of you have ever delivered or worked in the gig economy. The point is, this isn't about the gig economy. This is about the future of employment. This is about human dignity and human survival, because the destruction that will be wrought by the loss of employment and the loss of job security, the loss of consistency to this segment of the population worldwide is going to create a lower caste globally that will suffer and, I'm afraid, perish at the hands of this type of artificial intelligence.
Jeff, let me tell you what there are other possibilities. I'm going to tell you the happy possibilities before
Tell me happy possibilities.
In the negative. The happy possibility is that we see this one coming. There's evidence to support this, and some of the leadership, even some of the leadership that I don't respect, even some of the oligarchs that I don't respect, have come out and said the exact same thing as the people I respect. Elon Musk even says, hey, you should look at universal basic income. I know I'm an employer and I want to exploit people, but there's only so many people I can exploit at one time. Right. There are going to be people crying to be exploited. Right. Does this sound familiar?
Oh yeah, that's the gig economy. I said it in my first chapter. I mean, I was
big brother,
just desperate to be exploited by anybody when I joined the gig economy, because it was during the pandemic. There were no jobs. There was no source of money. I'm like, hell, there's only one thing that's better there's only one thing worse than staying at home all day without any resources or anything to do. No. Oh man, I'm so confused. There's only one thing worse than DoorDash or working in the gig economy, and that was staying home all day with nothing else to do. Well, boy, I botched the hell out of that. But the point is, desperation was a factor.
So what DoorDash is selling is the labor market. It is selling labor in a marketplace. It is not a labor marketplace. It is a marketplace that sells labor, like an auction house. So they're auctioning. That's exactly what's happening. Mm-hmm. A computer is going back and forth and making a match between two people. And there's a price that's determined between those organizations.
Countless parameters.
The price is set by contract, but it's in accordance with the rules set by DoorDash. So DoorDash tells you what those rules are going to be if you're the restaurant to adhere to. And it also tells the person who's picking up the food those rules. So you're in a marketplace when you do that. And there's just that tiny distinction, but I want to make that distinction because there's a difference between going to a grocery store and a store with groceries. There's a difference between a red dress and a dress with red. And so I want to make that distinction because what they're really selling to the person who's the driver, not the thing they're getting paid for, but they're selling hope. They're selling that today you're an unemployed college student, but tomorrow you work part-time for DoorDash. And most people don't say I'm an independent contractor for DoorDash. There are a few people, and those are the people who are crying to be exploited for complicated reasons. One of which being money, the favorite, and two being the potential to make money. So there are more people looking at number two than number one, just as with the gold rush. More people got rich supplying the people with Levi's. That's how Levi got rich. The people who supplied the equipment made more money than the people who were paying
Well, that was real good. I closed the wrong window. We're back. Don't worry. Where were we? Okay. We're right back. I'm sorry about that. But hey, this is a good opportunity to say hi real quick. And we'll find that special spot where we just was because of my operator error. But sometimes things just happen for the best.
Every
Maybe it
so
was just
many
time for me
cycles,
to
but there wasn't
say
a week.
hello.
They actually physically changed.
And let's see where we were. Let me just check real quick where we were here on the other broadcast. How's everybody doing? How's everybody in the chat? Is everybody awake? I think there's a real good interview so far. Real good interview so far. We were at this is good. The magic of production. I can figure out where we was at and where we are at now. Let's see. Okay. I think I know where we are.
It's all gone.
Yeah, but there was a loss with that. Unfortunate. So Brandy and his brother were MIT and I believe Harvard graduates by Looking Glass in the U. People who are working the gig.
Okay. We're almost there. Good,
For
good.
years.
Well, I have to say, one of the things that when I've inquired about jobs like
Hi,
that, they
Mary.
say, well, we have a shortage in the HR department and we haven't been able to labor.
I don't.
Let's see here.
DoorDash. And most people don't say I'm an independent contractor for DoorDash. There are
Okay,
a
here
few
we are.
people, and those are the people who are crying to be exploited.
Here we go.
That's how Levi got rich. The people who supply, and so it made more money than the people who were panhandling. They got rich off the idea that you could get rich. That's what they sold, was hope. And so DoorDash is selling hope to employers that they're going to survive through the pandemic and that they're going to gain new customers and that this is the future and resistance is futile. And they're selling to the driver hope that this is going to save you. This is going to be how you pay next month's rent. This is going to be how you buy clothes for your children for school.
Right.
So last year, they were old hand-me-downs. And this year, you're like, nope, not happening. I'm going to buy them all new clothes. And so I'm just going to take this little second DoorDash job because I already have a full-time job. I take this little second DoorDash part-time job. And sometimes when people don't call it a part-time job, they just call it a gig. It's a gig. I'm going to take this gig. Now, a gig is not something that's continuous or aimless and doesn't have an end date, just in case you didn't know that.
Right.
A gig has an end date. So if someone says, I've been invited to play at this gig, someone doesn't think that's for the next year and a half.
Right. Short term.
Yeah. So the gig could potentially last a year and a half, but most of the time that word is not used that way. It's associated with a short-term, one-time thing. So clearly DoorDash is not a gig, because it has a relationship by virtue of you having downloaded that app, which includes a license. When they gave you a license, whether they wanted to or not, they completed an action that made a relationship.
Yeah, I think that is one of many legal arguments. But again, this is the fascinating aspect, is that this has been looked at, this has been litigated, this has been the subject of ballot initiatives and legislation in multiple very large states, but it's still out there, right? And
because it's too big. It's too big. It's like the elephant in the room. It's too big to change in the middle of the stream. What has happened is watched as companies have watched the success of making organizations are making employees independent contractors, they've all followed suit. And so there's issues of this that have nothing to do with DoorDash,
Right.
that could bring the economy to a halt.
Absolutely.
So I have watched, and if some of you have temped, you've seen this. So I had a friend that I was talking about the work schedule, and they said, oh, let me check. They went to an app on their phone and clicked into their employer, which was a temp agency, that told them if they had matched with one of those employers, they had worked with this agency previously before. So they were cleared to work with a number of different agencies. Basically, they auctioned him off in that moment for that day and said, these are the opportunities that you have.
Right.
And he looked and he could choose which one he wanted. And I don't remember how he chose, but I was amazed. I was like, oh, I feel so behind. Really? What just happened? Because it wasn't like, hey, this is Mary and there's a job available. And I was wondering to see if you, nope. It was different employers in one app by a temp agency doing the same thing that DoorDash is doing. And he was like, I can accept this, accept, or not accept it. And it gives the illusion of control.
The illusion of choice.
Accept. That means you chose it. Now, all I know is there's that wonderful quote. Who made that quote? When someone says, what's your dream job? Who was it that replied, darling, I don't have a dream job because I don't dream of labor?
I don't know who said that, but I'll buy it.
Oh my gosh. Like, who's dreaming of labor, right? Like, who goes to sleep and thinks, oh, let me think about supporting capitalism. Yeah, well, sometimes we occasionally do accidentally. But I was just shocked that his job was basically on the phone, that his relationship with the company was like,
That's right.
He traveled all over the country with an app, never seeing his employer.
That's right. And so enterprising folks want to do this with nurses. Enterprising folks want to do this with home inspections. Enterprising folks want to do this with everything. Now, why? What is the economic incentive for a corporation to do this? Is that they're fractionalizing their workday and fractionalizing their commitment to labor. So instead of paying somebody to work from Monday through Friday for 40 hours, they can get that same amount of labor, not worry about lunches and breaks and anything else. They really just wanted that person for the 23 peak hours of the week. And the only reason they were going to give them 40 is they couldn't get good quality people unless it was full time. Well, now they don't even have to worry about that. They don't need a full time person because they don't have to have an employee to woo. Now, and instead of 40-hour week, now they can get a digital widget. They can just dial up the gig app and hire up an employee for the day that can do the cash register function and work the square system that they need at the kiosk. You know, basically, the more automation there is, the more artificial intelligence could fractionalize what you consider today or what people consider today to be a job or employment into fractions of jobs and employments. And then we're going to ask ourselves, well, what's the unemployment rate? What's the labor participation rate? How many jobs are really available? Are jobs really, are people really hiring for these jobs? Or is it like the state of Oregon where there's thousands of jobs available and posted that show, you know, there's jobs available, but nobody's been hiring for them for years?
Well, I have to say, one of the things that when I've inquired about jobs like that, they'll say, well, we have a shortage in the HR department. We haven't been able to process. Now, I'm very good at following through on things. People don't know that about me. It's interesting because, like, after I meet someone and have a conversation with them, sometimes they'll say something to me and I'll write that down or I'll just remember it and it'll stick with me. And then years later, I'll bring that person and I'll talk to them. I'll tell them how that sentence affected me. They'll be like, you remember that? Or like, you wrote that down. I'm like, yes, I remember exactly. And sometimes I have to come back to people and say, hey, you know, when you said that, I didn't understand it. but I understand it now. There's lots of things that we didn't understand about how this was going to play out that we can now understand, having viewed it in a small way, that we can extrapolate how it's going to look in the future when everything is done this way. The expense will be not just to our pocketbooks and not just to the people who are working the gig. The expense will be to humanity itself, which now has a wide gap in what used to be traditional employment and this gig economy where there's no insurance, there's no one responsible for anything, workplace conditions. Nobody's responsible for anything. And they're paying you for your top level knowledge for just 15 seconds of it. I can tell you in some places, there are things that I can tell you in 1 minute that took me years to learn. Now, everybody can think of something like that. Now, sometimes it took us years to learn it, and I can't explain it to you because it's complicated. But there are other things I could tell you how to do it if you would just follow through. And you wouldn't need the years of learning. This is what AI is trying to do. This is what computers do when they're assisting in surgery. The doctor spent how many years? 12.
Lots, yeah.
Years learning that to be in that surgical room, right? So they went through college, they went through medical school, and then there's internship and surgery internship. It's been a long time, okay? And so now they're in there, and they're with AI, which is making programming decisions based on a hive mind of information that's already existing, but it's making programming decisions in 1 minute, 30 seconds based on a set of information that's programmed. So whether or not AI affects you, if that's something that you're considering and thinking, because people are like, why is this important? Why are you talking about it? AI is already affecting you. It's going to affect your employment. It's going to affect your health insurance. It's going to affect your shopping. Unfortunately, it's going to affect many people's mental moods,
your consumer choices, your local economy, and so and the real impacts are going to be seen societally because the workers of the gig economy, because of their exploitation, because of how they are used, abused, gamified, and enslaved, will become a lower caste with a lower standard of living, a lower social position.
I think we already see that.
I think we already see it. In fact,
I do think people won't acknowledge it. And this is the argument we're having. Which state is it that is proposed that we lower the age of employment? I know there's
somewhere down south.
I know that there's a couple states, but I want to say Florida because that's my favorite state right now to say disparaging things about. But I actually like Florida, except for that. I like the weather, I like the palm trees, but Florida's kind of nuts. I think that the problem that we're having is, one, that we have Republicans in the GOP who just really want to lower the working age. We've had trouble with employment since COVID. We had a lot of people retire, huge swaths of population retire. We had people pass away, so they're no longer in this position. You had young people who decided, hey, life is too short. Middle-aged people who decided life is too short. So there's been a change in the balance between labor and employment, and the gig economy arose more strongly. Because of that
complete change.
You have people like Elon Musk.
The pandemic was the largest wealth transfer in the history of humanity, right?
You have Elon Musk, who I'm not a fan of, saying, hey, let's put the brakes on this AI stuff because it's getting crazy. What did he name his children?
I don't remember.
Something crazy.
Something weird, yeah.
Elon Musk named his kids. It's not even a name. It's like X1234. He gave them a model number. He didn't even give them a name.
All right.
Come on, the guy's nuts. If he says don't do it, maybe we shouldn't do it.
Well, yeah,
the call is coming from inside the house.
Okay, now I get. Yeah. If Elon's survival instinct is kicking in, then we may want to be worried.
He's
willing
to do anything. This is the guy who's willing to go to space. He's going to go to space. He's willing to go to space. He's willing to do all these things. And he's saying, I'm willing to do all this crazy stuff, but there's some science behind it. I made my political views.
So here's a way to look at it. I think when a lot of these oligarchs and billionaires talk about artificial intelligence, they are talking about artificial intelligence running away with the power of the planet, being able to control things autonomously and rough, and that is certainly one long-term danger that may be, or even short-term danger that may be very real. But AI is most effective in controlling people more so than replacing people. People will always, we're human beings, we populate the earth, we've got, we are here. And so AI, I don't feel like it's going to replace your whole marketing department by writing all your copy and doing your website and sending your tweets and everything else. I don't know. I think the content's just going to be, who knows? Maybe AI will do all of those things. That's not going to end the world. The fact that now AI runs,
it can change the world a lot.
It can change the world a lot.
I turned something over to AI that I think most
but
people
but
turn over to
if AI is managing our nation's workforce, if AI is hiring and firing people, if AI is choosing whether you're eligible for housing or not, if AI is choosing whether you're eligible to work at all or not,
or released from prison, able to go on and get a college education. There is so much involved.
Right. And so through any portable device like this now, you put this portable device in any human's hand and tell them your job is to be connected to this device, and you do what this device says.
Jeff knows a lot about that phone there. And I'm going to tell you something about that we turned over to AI, and most of us have turned it over to AI, and especially in cities, we don't realize what we've done, and we're starting to realize what we've done, and we've been told what we've done in Snowden told us. So this is how you boil the frog. Okay,
Edward Snowden told us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't at me or at Jeff because I talk about boiling frogs, because no frogs are being boiled.
Okay.
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
So the pot is cold when we get these foams, and we keep everything on them, including location devices.
That's
right? So for how many decades have we been giving the FBI and the police department the information on everywhere we go?
And Kroger.
And I was getting to that. So we turned it over when the water was cold, and only, I would probably say 2020, most people with the George Floyd protest, when they started talking about people being found because of their phones, people started going, whoa, what? Right. A lot of people didn't realize how much tracking that the military and the police industrial complex can do. Before then, we had an unfortunate ignorance, which left even our children exposed. When we were taking pictures, for example, I remember that big old scare. We took pictures. We were like, oh, I'm at the park with little Susie. Hi. And we didn't realize we were taking pictures that had our location on there back when the location was being telegraphed to the picture. So pedophiles were using that to track children's behavior. And so tracking was used for that situation. I know if children are.
Well, so you want to talk about surveillance? The amount of surveillance technology.
Kroger got that little card that you go get the discount.
Oh my goodness!
So every time you do that, you are putting out information into the world, right?
And that's in chapter 4 of the book that Kroger started a side business with your data. That their side marketing business of the data.
But the police have access to it too. Now, why does that matter?
Everybody's got access. So they started a side business of selling this data. All of the data that Kroger's collected from all of these grocery stores, all of these things that they've acquired over time, is now packaged up as a data lake and sold as analysis to anybody who wants it. And so there's also things that are called social listening, where everything that's going on in the internet is sucked in, then given out in a report. So they can say how many times these keywords were used about DoorDash, how many times this. So the amount of surveillance that is built into these systems now is beyond.
Okay, let's stop. Let's stop right there, because I want to say something that's I know I told you this, but let's just go ahead and go back to this. Two things I want to say.
Okay.
So I want to say that Kroger information and information like that with the shopping carts can be used against you in court. You think, well, who cares? Why does it matter that I bought Benadryl and another thing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if someone comes up and has an illness associated with that could be used in court. And in drug court, they've used the purchasing of plastic bags like snack bags,
as material evidence of intention to.
Yeah. So we know that starting out in cold water, when I'm getting a discount, I'm getting 50 cents off. I like a good discount. So I'm going to use that card too.
Free delivery for your first orders.
So now we know what you're eating. We know what drugs you buy.
That's right.
Women have gotten products for babies that they don't have by buying pregnancy tests. When the programming is off, the test isn't positive. They just bought a test, and now they're starting to get baby advertising and things like that. Is that because there's the algorithm is off, or is there a certain part of the algorithm saying, come on, girl, you know you wanted another one anyway. Come on, you just might as well have that final baby. Is that fair? Is that fair to give women baby fever? I'm serious there. Is that a manipulation of the system? Are we going to show apple pie and cute baby pictures with kittens in there and make women think that, oh my God.
Well, so part of this, a big part of the gig economy is social media, right? The gig economy has become a social circus, right? So we've got drivers, and we've got customers, and we've got advertisers, and we've got all these different things. So it's very much a just a chaos.
I wouldn't call chaos
creator.
Oh, it's definitely a disruptor. But here's the thing: that thing is programmed down to the dime. Oh, the confession. The confession. I forgot the confession.
What was?
It's not a confession. So I used to live in DC.
Right.
I loved my job because I'm nosy. So the bottom line is there was a company called Cyvalence. It still exists. CYVEILLANCE in Arlington, Virginia. It was bought by Looking Glass in the UK. Yeah, I had to look this up because I wanted to know if I was going to get, how big a trouble would I get in if I said these things.
Gotcha.
I'm sure I'm not supposed to say them.
Oh, good.
But you know, what is the fun of life if you can't talk about the stuff you did in your youth?
As long as you didn't sign an agreement.
No, I didn't. Well, the first stupid thing I did from Portland, I'll come back to that other story. First stupid thing I did to lose my privacy: date someone from the NSA.
Well, I'll never do that.
Do you think I knew what the NSA was? I mean, Jeff is giving me more credit than the girl that moved from Portland to DC. I was definitely a smaller town girl. Portland was a smaller town there. So I dated someone who worked in the procurement.
Well, and so in DC, everybody works for the federal government.
That's right.
So you're
That's
like,
right.
Whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you work in procurement. Okay, great. You get pencils and stuff. No. Eventually, I thought I had a drug dealer in my hands. I'm like, oh my gosh. I got to figure out what's going on, because I needed him to be there physically. And he was gone at night. And I was like, what is going on? He just won't. I'm young, and I'm thinking, well, you know what? This is an attractive package. But you know what? One day he just sat me down and he said, well, I got to tell you, because I was like bothered. And then that movie came out, The Net. So I called him up on the phone, and my friend, there was some crackling on my line. I go, oh, that's bad. And my friend goes, well, have you seen that movie, The Net? Maybe it's The Net. And just jokingly, I asked him if his phone line was recorded. And he explained to me that his phone line was recorded, when it was recorded a little bit, and that he would talk to me about it when he got home. And he was exceedingly calm, like eerily calm. And so I already knew when he got home it was some big.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? And then I found out dude procured money for missions. So he was leaving in the middle of the night because, like, one time somebody left the safe open. He left one time and he had to go. You have to count every paper in a government office when something like that happens. They got to assemble a team to go into that office and count every freaking piece of paper and make sure it's there. Every piece of paper. So he would leave in the middle of the night. And I'm like, what? Can I just get the guy who orders the paper clips?
It's like,
I was dating. That's what I was dating. But mad props to him because I did feel safe around him when I had moved to the big city and big city problems emerged. Living by myself, a bad issue. But you know, hey, I can live by myself. If I was living today, I'd be in worse shape because I wouldn't have a whole house to myself.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to afford a whole house, right? I was working full time, but I could afford a house, lived across the street from my workplace. I had benefits. If now I'd have to live in a house with 6 sleepy, dumpy, grumpy, what's the rest of them? With 7?
Dopey.
That sounds really dangerous. Actually, that's very, 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 very dangerous for women. But the idea is, so that I kind of lost a little bit of privacy there and begin to understand in DC, you got to ask more questions, Rachelle. Okay, so you don't know what the NSA is. I now know what the NSA is. Okay, I'm good. But then later on, and I came from a family, a military family, but later on, I began to work for a defense contractor and also Cyvalence. So Cyvalence does extra site e-business intelligence. I can still say that years later. Anyway, Cyvalence is now owned by Looking Glass in the UK. And so Cyvalence has equipment that is now in the Smithsonian. Cyvalence was started by 2 brothers, Brandy, and the other one, Thomas. I can't remember the other one's name. That's unfortunate. So Brandy and his brother were MIT and I believe Harvard graduates. So they established something called Net Sapien. Net Sapien scanned the internet every 24 hours. I said the internet. You know what's connected to the internet? That means email, websites, and it looked for certain information. And although I don't have the algorithms, that's very specific. That was very specific. It did it on government contract. The problem is it sent spiders and into other people's websites, and that pool of information that it took from the website, companies were required to pay for their data usage.
Mm-hmm.
So when it first started, NetSapiens started crawling and it started pulling, people complained about the amount of data it took. But I told you it scanned the internet once every 24 hours. But that was 25 years ago. So if you are saying that that's now, I just want to let you know that that was 25 years ago. By the way, Brandy, what was Brandy's another? Brandy ended with an I, Brandi. The other one was, I don't remember the other man's name, but he actually won an award for one of the most attractive people in People magazine for like 1988 or 1999. He was considered one of the most attractive men. And that company, Cyvalence. So Cyvalence was employed by a certain government agency before they had Homeland Security. So before Homeland Security, the program was not called PRISM. It was called Carnivore. And I think that's probably, I didn't watch the Snowden movie. It would be boring. I kind of know. But so Carnivore became PRISM. So I think I can stop there. But to say that it hasn't evolved since I worked for Cyvalence, I beg to differ. I'm pretty sure that the technology is so far past keywords and
I think I think privacy is that all of this stuff. I mean, I'm trying to use a few things to hang on to. You can look at, and it's actually linked in my book, some of the social media or social listening applications, and you can look at Kroger's data organization. if you want to see hundreds of pages of demographics cut up every way possible. And so in the case of Kroger, of course, they've got this massive database. So anybody that wants to know how to target women in the United States between the ages of 23 and 37, guess what? Kroger's got that information. So this is a treasure trove of information. And then what each gig economy company does and what artificial intelligence allows, it allows this to happen in real time.
And constant exploitation.
Constant testing.
Unlike a human, which may sometimes have a variation in that and actually may have some emotion about, oh, geez, I'm not going to abuse Jeff anymore by making Jeff work 11, 12-hour days. A computer no longer has that ability because it's programmed to get the maximum output. The maximum output is anytime Jeff is available, I'm negotiating for those 12-hour days because it benefits.
That's
me.
right. And it even
that hasn't
knows
worked out in the past very well when people have been allowed to just negotiate based on their ability to profit off of other people's labor.
And it even knows if you're not logged in and you're not scheduled, it has you targeted as a person depending upon your interactions with the app. It has you targeted as a person that can be called in. So again, what they've built is this just unlimited capacity of labor. And when it's unlimited and it's ubiquitous, then you can just drive it to the bottom.
Yes,
right?
and who drove to the bottom in 1940? We don't need to guess. I'm not guessing. I got the sun in my face.
That's right. The Russians tried working 7 days a week.
Yeah. Do we want to fix that, or we want to? I'm a little shiny. Got the sun in my face.
Yeah,
We're good.
Oh, it's sun in your face.
So I'm just looking like an angel here with the sun.
You are undoubtedly an angel.
Well, now I've got a patch that looks like a heart. Okay. Why don't you just turn me into a cat? Jeff,
turn you into a cat. Okay.
Jeff's gonna turn me into a cat. From now on, there'll be a little cat face. It'll be my face. But the point is, it's been tried before. So when I say these things, I don't say them as a matter that I haven't researched them heavily. These are things that I've matched. I've researched heavily, and it's unfortunate that we don't have more consumers and more individuals rising up about this problem. Stalin, Russia, they wanted everything to be better after agriculture was not the main means of surviving in the world. So they're trying very hard to reinvent the wheel and reinvent the country. So they're going to reinvent the day. And so they went to a 24-hour workday, which meant everything was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there were off days every so many cycles, but there wasn't a week. They actually physically changed time. So there was no 7-day week. What was it, like 10 days or 14 days?
It was first 7 days, and then 2 years later they changed it to 6 days.
Yeah.
So it went from Neprerivka, which was 7 days, to Shestidnevka.
But anyway, they changed it from a week. So your reality is changing when a week isn't a week. When I say a week is 3 days, or a week is this,
right.
Or reality.
That's the whole idea of work standards, right? I mean, the 5-day work week, 40 hours, all of those things were part of negotiations. And so in the gig economy, all those historical negotiations, all those labor standards, minimum wage, limits to time,
there's a loss.
Safety, training, it's all gone.
Yeah, but there was a loss with that schedule. My production went up short term. What was lost was connections with family. I don't think young people talk about this enough. And I think maybe people think that it's a lovey-dovey thing and it's not measurable. And I operate in numbers. So there's a part of me that's very creative. I like to sculpt. I'm very tactile. But oftentimes what I'm doing with my fingers is I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sculpting something, but in my mind, something else is going on totally. And what I'm thinking is when you change the work week to 7 days a week, that means everybody works 7 days a week. And now the work hours are even worse than 1940 Russia, 1920 Russia, because now the work hours are 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You can work any type of day, any type of night, and it's an attractive proposition to some people. And what I mean by that, hold on, is that sometimes my creative abilities kick in late at night, and I would be far more productive working a few hours at night than just going, oh, I'm going to be stuck in bed. Now, what DoorDash does is exploit the fact that I'm not sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, geez, I could be making some money right now because I'm sitting right here wide awake, maybe too much blue light from the phone, or I took a nap during the day and I want to do something. It's the same reason why Planet Fitness sells 24-hour fitness. Go in there at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Best time to go in. There's like 2 people in there.
Right.
Right. But the idea, the concept that it's available to you 24 hours a day is grand. They make their money off selling you a concept, not the actual thing. If you did that actual thing and that actual thing came to fruition and everybody went to the gym all the time, 24 hours a day would work.
Right.
Okay. So it's made for a certain amount of people who sign up in January with good intentions to fail by March. It only can exist that way. And when you have these systems set up where a certain amount of people can succeed, but I can actually just turn it on or off. What?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, never before has it been so easy to turn things on or off.
Yeah.
You don't even have to push a button anymore. I mean, you can just actually set a date and just toop, and done. You're just done. You don't have to do it yourself. You can even set an algorithm, which is programming. It's just people programming.
One of the most insidious things that they talk about with that people don't talk about with these apps very much is the fact that they are so dynamic on the employee side that they'll run multiple tests around the country at the same time, same day. Everyone is a market of one. So the more that you and I, the more anybody tries to talk to another person and share something, and hey, you're a DoorDasher, I'm a DoorDasher too. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? That's literally an impossible conversation to have,
right.
because each of us is literally a market of one. And so when they're selling this concept, they're selling a very specific market of one. They're selling a market of one for whom their system is beneficial. And whatever small percentage of people that is, it does not justify the damage and the exploitation that they do to the rest.
Else. This is why there aren't very good experts. So the expert on this is going to be someone who's familiar with coding and math and psychology. You're going to have a very rare mix, and maybe someone who's familiar with security. Now, I happen to be a very rare mix. I'm also familiar with art. I'm doing that now. But anyway, the idea that you need to have someone with a psychology background driving the coding because you want a certain outcome. Mm-hmm. So to deconstruct this isn't just someone randomly coding something.
No.
This is someone who said consumers want this, or this is what drives this. And so we're going to push more of this. The way Lysol was pushed for its original use. If you have children in the room, you may not want them to hear this or cover their ears. Go look up the original use of Lysol, and it's pretty disappointing because what you see is all throughout history, women, and in this case, white women, okay? Because white women had disposable income and black women didn't. If black women had disposable income, I'm sure they would have tried to.
Here, let's scoot. We can just scoot a little bit left. We got sun rays coming in our eyes here. If you scoot to the left, that way, like a couple inches, that sun ray will be right off your face. No, maybe this way. I guess I don't think I knew the difference. Maybe I don't know the difference between left and right. Okay, there we go.
That's better. Okay. So what I was saying is if black women had disposable income, they would have been targets too, but they didn't at the time white women did. Mm-hmm. So Lysol was promoted as a way to save your relationship.
Yeah.
You'll have to look that up, and not while your kids are around. There's nothing pretty about what marketing was willing to do to women to destroy their confidence and to interrupt relationships by saying your husband didn't want you because you were smelly and you needed Lysol. Think about a company that would just actually destroy the basic fabric of the United States. Who would do that? Well, corporations, and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
So instead of, acting on the one-time insecurity of a period of insecurity about marriage and sexuality during that time, they're acting on other insecurities that are new. And so now we see them thinking about, well, you don't want your kid in poverty. You want to pay for that extra soccer lesson. You want to pay for that extra Kumon lesson. And mom, if you just, hey, you're a soccer mom, you could just take the van and deliver some stuff or pick up some people or do, and you're going to make life all better. Well, what mother doesn't want to make their child's life better?
Right.
This is a con game,
and it's a trap, right? Because as soon as they get a little bit of your time, then the app is designed to get the amount of your time that it wants, and so you're always being optimized by a computer program.
But we're not. But I want us to consider that it's not a computer program behind it. That there's a man behind the curtain. Just like there was
there's always a human.
Yeah.
There's always a human that designed these systems.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Remember that, right?
But again, the corporation is a very good curtain. The corporation was built up so that you can't ever get to the man behind the curtain. And so that's the danger of this gig economy in 27 nations is that if these guys get in with the government and establish this. I mean, this has become big in India. Going to have a guest on the podcast talking about
does it relieve the burden?
Attacks and even murders that have happened to gig economy workers in India because of the caste system and because they're looked down upon.
Who's leading the country? Again, I asked you what the product is. So when we talk about mass incarceration, which we're not hearing so much about anymore in this month, especially because we're talking about Pride, and we're talking about Juneteenth, and we're talking about all the celebratory things, which is great because we need a chance to celebrate. But when we talk about mass incarceration, it took a long time for people to draw that line between police brutality and mass incarceration and labor. Right. There were people who just couldn't see it, and they're like, you're reaching. I'm like, no, mass incarceration is another form of slavery because you're saying that people are committed to do this work, which you're then profiting off of their labor, but you're not compensating them for their labor. And they've been sentenced. Well, if they didn't do the crime, okay, so they may have done a crime, but we're not working on rehabilitation. We're just working on profit. Are we going to put the profits back into rehabilitating individuals? If we stop mass incarceration, Arizona would collapse. That's still profiting off the slave trade. Yeah. It just is. And so when you look at it, you see a lot of parallels between mass incarceration and the incarceration of people of minds in the gig economy. And what I mean by that is they start to think this is what should happen, that because it's happening, this is a right thing. Because, it's illegal, it must be good. It's not good for the economy. It's good for a company, but it's not good for you. You won't have money to put back into the marketplace.
Yeah, I can't think of there's other than a global corporation and its investors, and I'm talking about not investors in the public stock market, but I'm talking about the major rounds of funding that these companies get. They're the only ones that benefit. And of course, political leaders that want their people easily controlled by artificial intelligence systems. I mean, we would have to assume that out of these 27 nations, there are many people that think that controlling their populations via gig apps and the gig economy, as opposed to working through employers, would be a very efficient way to use a workforce. I'm sure there are people that are thinking that right now.
We're going to have to use a different word than gig. There's something else going on that's
nefarious. App slavery is what
There's
it's called.
There's something more going on here than than what appears to happen. There was an article that I sent you about did you read it, about the boys club? And so
Which one?
yeah, we send a lot of articles.
We send
This
a
one
lot
is
of
about
articles.
Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats is so wholesome.
Okay. I don't remember
What's
that one.
bad with Quaker Oats? I mean, vegans are having a moment with oats and oat milk. But your grandmother ate oatmeal. I don't care if she was from Ireland, Scotland, England, and where you didn't have oats, there was a different kind of mush, but we grew to love oatmeal when we got to the United States, right? So we love our oatmeal, and if we're really poor and someone says they're going to feed us, then oftentimes we're really excited about all the things that we can eat, especially if we're little kids. This has always continuously been used as a weapon. Corporations and government have gotten together to weaponize all sorts of things. And in this particular issue, we didn't have, it wasn't a digital economy, but the government and Quaker Oats got together and cooked up an experiment by which children would get this good thing, the flexibility on the job and app, whatever it is you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they were getting was food, and they were going to get mentoring, but what they were really doing was sticking radiation in the oatmeal. And my God, I wish I was lying. So there's radiation in the oatmeal, and the experiment was the radiation in the oatmeal. But did the kids know that? No, they didn't know that. They thought they were getting attention and they were getting meals, and they weren't getting meals. They were hungry.
And what kids were they doing this to?
Some poor kids at a residential school.
Okay.
And so, I don't even know if they were at was it residential? But in any event, I'll look it up, and you can look it up, because look it up right now. Let's see, a Quaker oatmeal radiation experiment.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that what was being sold was the idea that if you went to this program specifically for boys between this age and this age, that what you would get is homework assistance, additional education. You would get, sometimes I think they were clothes provided, and you would get hot meals. To boys who did not have much going on, that sounded good. That sounds good to me too right now, right? You're going to get me hot meals and clothing.
Yeah.
I could use hot meals and clothing, right? Every day you're going to bring me my oatmeal. I'm going to tell you how I want it made. I want it with raisins, with date syrup, right? Okay, but you're sticking radiation in it. So it looks like one thing, but all I'm telling you to do is get in the white van. And this is what DoorDash is doing. And I can't actually stress this enough, because in every situation, people did not start to make a change until, one, there was the alarm that was sounded. We're doing that right now. We're sounding the alarm. And two, the impact was felt severely enough. It took 13 years for them to change that Russian system of working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they didn't change it because it wasn't effective. It was very effective at first. And then the suicide started. The alcoholism started. Children were just running loose on the street, not eating. And they needed to have strong men for war. So it was a factor. And they reversed the decision, and they went from 7 days a week, and then they slowed it down to 6 days a week. And they said, well, work them for some more. That's a different Russian name that I can't pronounce. I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce that. So they worked them some more. And now the Russian work week is probably more in line with the European work week, although I don't know the exact numbers. You can do it for a while, and then it's just not going to work anymore. It's just not going to work. You cannot tell people that what you're selling is flexibility. What you're really selling is that they're available. Your labor is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what they're selling. Now, you as an individual may not be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But the concept, too, is that the labor pool is available 24 hours and 7 days a week. And remember, this is a digital labor marketplace. So we can now do that. It's not like you're standing there on the market. It's the same thing as happening with your Indeed I use that company name, but Indeed resume. You got your resume out there. It's out there 24 hours and 7 days a week. As Susie gets up at 2 o'clock in the morning and wants to look at your resume, Susie can get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and look at your resume. But when you speak to Susie, you have a discussion about what you want and what she wants. And that discussion is a conversation.
Right.
And you probably have an employer manual. You can look up how many people on Indeed liked the situation or management wasn't good. I still don't know. And I'm very concerned about the number of women who've been impacted by DoorDash. And does our government have a responsibility to protect women? Because
I think absolutely. I mean, at the very least, they're being exploited in multiple, financially and physically and mentally. Are there other ways in particular that women and people of color are being exploited? I think there are. I think the data supports that algorithmic discrimination is still discrimination. Right. And I think that's one of the things in gamification that Vina Dubal wrote about. Algorithmic discrimination is another terminology for that. And it's, people are not being treated equally. Now, if it's a computer,
that's my point.
If it's a computer that doesn't treat you equally instead of a human, is that okay?
No. And that's my point. Remember, somebody programmed this, and remember,
right.
Did we talk about the date? We went on the date and we walked through a hypothetical date. Yeah. And your date was getting dressed and picking out a place. And my date was
worrying about your safety.
Texting my sister, telling her
right.
where I was going to be, what time the date was, that I was driving myself. He wanted to pick me up. I said, no, I'm driving. I'm parking around the block. You won't see my license plate. You won't know what kind of car I drive. I'm doing all these different things for this date. If I'm programming the algorithm versus him programming the algorithm, it looks totally different. We're not doing the same programming.
That's true.
This is the difference between homemade macaroni and cheese and Kraft macaroni and cheese, right? There's a huge difference, but we're still calling it mac and cheese. So there's the safety element, and I think the governmental responsibility and OSHA's responsibility is to make sure that people are safe. But there's a problem here, and the problem is OSHA covers workplace safety. And what did DoorDash remove?
Yeah, and that's Occupational Health and Safety Administration, right?
Yeah. And so DoorDash basically changed the workplace into something you own and you're responsible for.
Right.
So DoorDash is not responsible when your tire blows on the side of the car and you get hit by a semi-truck.
Nope.
DoorDash is not responsible. Now, what's going to happen is similar to Domino's. I got a Domino's joke. You ready? Okay. Why does Domino's deliver?
Why?
You don't know? Because nobody would pick it up. Sorry, Domino's. That's what they used to say.
That is, yeah. They used to make.
I haven't eaten Domino's pizza in a long time, but people used to say it wasn't great. Okay, because people were used to coming off Chicago pizza and New York pizza. When pizza started to just get homogenized, there was a period, 1980, 1990, 2000. By 2000, it was over. People we're tired of homogenized pizza. We want real pizza. So real pizza started to make a comeback. Now you can find real pizza everywhere. But so the truth is, Domino's used to have a 30-minute guarantee. They removed it. And they removed it because they were failing sometimes, but not a large percentage of the time, because they had already calculated how long their service area, how much their service area was.
It was the human behavior that caused that made them remove it.
You got it.
That human behavior got people killed.
Yep. You got it. So you might have you shared this story before?
It's in my book, I think.
Okay. So what happened is you had people going, oh, well, we could get a free pizza if the guy's late. So before, the 30-minute or free was not a problem because most people weren't calling in and saying, hey, my pizza was cold. So they thought this is a win-win. We're just going to announce something to solve a problem.
Elegant negotiable, you call that.
Yeah, solve a problem we actually don't have. Like, I'm the number one place doing blah, blah, blah. and there's just nobody else doing it. So of course I'm number one, I'm number two, I'm number three. There's no marketplace. I just started doing it, right?
Right.
So I'm making chewing gum art. I'm the number one gum artist in Oregon. Well, there are no chewing gum art. So it was kind of like that. They wanted to crow about something that wasn't historically a problem. People were not known for delivering cold pizza and getting away with it. That was the kind of stuff where you always see in the movie, people flip open the box, and if the pizza, you can feel on the bottom of the box if it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times people would look and see, and so that was the thing. So anyway, they just decided that 30 minutes are free, and that would make people pay attention. And one of the concerns about pizza delivery was that if I have something delivered, it's going to come cold. So that's why I'm not going for delivery, because I don't want cold food. At least if I'm in a drive-through, I'm getting the food at the moment I order it. So it's fast food, but I'm getting it now. I can eat it now. I can eat it in the parking lot. If you go to any parking lot at McDonald's, you'll see people actually eating their food in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's big now.
Yeah, so Domino's said 30 minutes are free, and that became a challenge. So instead of the consumers who were already satisfied being satisfied and the consumers who hadn't become Domino's patrons deciding to come to Domino's, it became a challenge to existing Domino's customers to get a free pizza, and new customers get a free pizza. They were not expecting that response. So what happened is now you had people calling in. It became a dissatisfier, which means you were doing something before that was perfectly fine, and all of a sudden now you caused a problem. So it was a dissatisfier, and now you have people calling saying, my pizza was late and I want a free pizza. Well, he was 2 minutes and 30 seconds late. He was 45 seconds late. And what was happening is they were reprimanding the drivers for being late. As they begin to reprimand the drivers and threaten their jobs and their livelihood, because some people deliver pizza for a living.
Yeah.
These were delivery drivers back then. It was a job.
Yeah, it was a job.
Mm-hmm. Not like today, where it's on an app and nobody's claiming that it's a job. Right. So what happened was they started driving faster and cutting corners and making decisions to shave off 2 or 3 minutes. Remember, during this time, there weren't big app systems that were constantly recalculating where you were, and there weren't smartphones that could carry a lot of data. There were map services, and they were limited. Okay, so Google was still building out their map service, and you know what Google is. People forget.
Go ahead.
So Google is a satellite system that was purchased from the United States government.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to know that. They think Google is a company. And if you look at a Google map, something else you didn't know, there are places you can't see. And that's because they're contracted with the government not to show you those places. And that makes sense. I support that. I'd like to wipe the schools off the maps and the hospitals too, because people are crazy these days. But in any event, so you had jobs, and you had Domino's reprimanding people and firing people for not delivering the pizza on time. And Jeff, I hope you can put a link on with this, because there's an episode of Spider-Man. Did you see the Spider-Man movie? Who is the one?
It's been a long time since I've seen Spider-Man.
This was an old one.
I mean,
like 20 years ago.
Yeah, that would be
the
my
skinny guy. The skinny guy who revised the younger Spider-Man. He works at a pizza shop, and they parodied the 30 minutes or free thing from Domino's. But this time it was some ethnic guy in New York who said, if Spider-Man, what's Spider-Man's real name?
Peter Parker, I think.
Isn't that Superman?
No.
No, yeah, okay, you're right. It's Peter Parker. So Peter Parker, I think Gwyneth Paltrow is in this one. Isn't she Gwyneth Paltrow? Who was the real skinny guy? He had the real soft voice. The real skinny one, like 20 years ago. Anyway, so he's working. Peter Parker is working pizza delivery,
Okay.
but he sees somebody getting robbed.
Right.
He starts looking at his clock and starts sweating.
Oh, to decide. I think I kind of remember that. Was that Tobey
Yes.
Maguire or something?
Toby
maybe?
Maguire. I knew it
Okay.
started with a T.
Okay.
And you can see the hesitation on his face.
Yeah. Should I deliver the pizza or save the person?
He's like, pizza? They just told me I'm going to lose my job. I'm Spider-Man, but I don't get paid for being Spider-Man. I don't get paid for being Spider-Woman either. All right.
That's it. That is a good wrap-up point for today. And we're going to also answer one question though, which was the Quaker oatmeal radiation experiments were in the late 40s. I looked that up online, and it looked like they did that with like 18 young men at a residential school or something like that. I didn't read it in depth, but
I believe the majority of them were either low IQ or developmentally disabled.
so there's and there's so much history of institutions abusing people and experimenting on people without appropriate consent and safety. It is a horror. So today has not been a horror. Today has been fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed it too. We have rambled. We have ambled around civil rights and humanity and the gig economy and labor and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know. Was it good for you?
It was good.
Okay. It was good for me then too. All right. High five. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This has been episode 17 of the Full Dash Closure audiobook and podcast. That's Rachelle Dixon. I'm Jeff Thomas Black. We'll see you next time.
Well, it wasn't that nice. No, that was the first time I saw that. We recorded it, but I never played it, and I never have had time to watch it because I don't have time to sit around and watch 2 hours of myself talking. I already remember what I said because I said it the first time, so I remember it pretty much. So that was real good. That was real good. I didn't know it was real good. I didn't because when you're doing it, you can't really tell. You can't really tell, and it was real hot. We were like sitting outside. It was hot, and we came in, and it was cooler downstairs. But I was still sweating. You see, like I had pit sweat in my t-shirt when I stood up to block the sun. So it was hot. It was a little uncomfortable. We looked comfortable, but we weren't really that terribly comfortable. But it was fun. We had fun, and we had a fun day, and that was a fun thing, and it looked like it turned out pretty good. So nice job, us. I told Rachelle that y'all appreciated her talents and requested her presence once again. So I'm sure she's enjoying that feedback. If she'd ever check her damn text messages, I don't know what she's doing tonight, so I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. She'll see it. She'll see it sooner or later. It's nothing to worry about. All right. So, how's everybody out there? Are we having fun? Probably having kind of fun. What night is it? It's like Thursday night. It's Civil Rights Thursday. Just because you're all here and just because you all sat through that, I'll show you something. So, James Lawson, who worked with Dr. Martin Luther King, he came to town, and Rachelle set up the event for Dr. Lawson, and that was at a Udi Snooty thingamabobber, uh, it was at the fancy club, the city club where all the rich people go. So this guy worked with Dr. Martin Luther King. He was at the organizer of the lunch counter protest, and so there's a Dr. Lawson has the James Lawson Institute at Vanderbilt University. Oh, look who that is! Look who that is! There's Dr. James Lawson there. there's Dr. Martin Luther King, and that's real cool. That's real nice. A couple of real swell fellers there. If you wanna take a historical perspective of any kind, a couple real good people. How did the Lawson Institute begin? So I'll put that in there in the chat if you were so inclined to do this. Now, uh, let's see. And so here's me and Dr. Lawson right there when they were in town, and Rachelle hosted a community event that I spoke at, and I got to meet Dr. Lawson, and it was really great. And so that was one of the real neat things. So there he is, and in the relatively present day, that was yeah. I'm live now. I'm live. I'm very live. Anytime I'm streaming, I live. I phone it in, but I'm always here. Like I don't just stream and go away. I'm involved in the chat and everything else, and I'm here and I'm playing segments because I have so much material to share with you guys. Such a complete shit ton of material to share with you that I have to use it because I can't just recreate it all. I can't just go back and live in the next 5 years so you can witness it. I have to just like show it to you at some level. It's probably ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, I get to do some fun. I've gotten to do some fun stuff by being a rabble rouser. Anyway, so there's me and Dr. Lawson back in that time period, and then here's Dr. Lawson with Martin Luther King. Dr. Lawson is still alive today. He's still alive. He's about 95 years old, I believe. So he's still alive today. So here is this was the day I met him. So this was May 2nd, 2019. And so I when he came to town, Rochelle had an event and she asked if I would speak about it. And so I did. And so this is me speaking at the event, and the voice that you'll hear is this is only just a short segment of the speech, but this is you'll hear Rochelle's voice. Yeah, I'm confusing. I try to wear something different too, so like that like this is me over here, like I'm over here, and that over there is a thing, and it's kind of like a TV show. It's kind of like the TV show, but it's all just run by me with my material and me, and so it gets a little confusing. There's a lot of me's around. I'm glad there's more people than me. That's why I love that glitch dash, gig tug and chug, Keevers, Brian, all those swell fellers and ladies. Uh, they keep it fun. I like to work alone, and I get a lot done alone. But it's fun to work with real good people. That's for sure. So let's watch this. Let's watch this thingamabobber for a minute. That's me. That's me right there. That's 2019 at some point. Uh, there's a link to the video. All these videos are in my YouTube for the most part. May 2nd, 2019. So that was 4 years ago, I guess. Let's see what I was talking about, and hopefully I was making just lots of sense.
We have people dying in Portland. The police just murdered a blind man named Andre Black. He's blind. They just murdered him and attempted to frame him as a person that took a knife off a police officer and went brandishing it. Go ahead and close your eyes and try and brandish a knife. Then drop it, then try to pick it up, and then try and brandish it again. You'll realize that what they're alleging this man did was literally impossible. So, when I went to Ted's office with the family of Andre Blatton, I once again sat in that chair across from Neil Goldschmidt, and I thought, this has to end. I took a picture of it, and I wrote about it for the next few weeks, publicly posting it. I asked for a meeting in City Hall. That was denied. And I made the decision that I was going to go destroy it publicly and then sit and wait to be arrested. When I went to hear Letha Winston, the mother of Patrick Kimmons, who was murdered by the Portland Portland Police at the end of last year. And again, as Dr. Lawson would say, don't look in the media for the truth. Patrick Timmons had no firearm when he was shot. He was running away, his hands were up. He was shot 9 times in the back. He was murdered. So what the police and the papers like to do, they like to tell you about this person's life outside the incident in which they murdered them. But that's not how law enforcement works. That's not how the justice system works. We don't gun somebody down for something they did last week. We try and essentially capture them alive and go to the justice system. And that's not happening here in Portland. And somebody is accountable. Ted Wheeler calls himself the police commissioner. Danielle Outlaw calls herself the police chief. Their assistant chief. Somebody is accountable, yet nobody in the city takes accountability. And we, the taxpayers, are paying for the city lawyers to fight every single one of these families and keep them from getting the compensation that would allow them to potentially live a tortured and semi-decent life. These people live hell. Having your loved one murdered by the state and the lack of justice, the lies, the smearing, the re-victimization that goes on with these families is interminable. Interminable. And as Dr. Lawson said as well, when we get to this critical point, lashing out with peace can be more effective than lashing out with violence. And I'm going to argue to you that that's what I did. I lashed out with peace. And as Dr. Lawson said, I switched it out a bit, right? I went on the news and first showed the picture around and said, haha, assholes, you're too dumb to realize that you're re-victimizing child rape victims every single day in your office, so I helped you out. And they ignored it, swept it under the rug, no comment, no comment, no comment. So I invited my friend Donna Hayes, grandmother of Moose Hayes, who was murdered by the Portland police, to join me for a ceremony to burn it, live on video and also on TV. And we did that, and we spoke with the victims, and we spoke with the criminal cabal that's at City Hall, and the fact that things have to change. And we have to force City Hall to listen to us. They have G4S security. They lock you down. They don't want you in. They have Ted's office. They lock all these doors. They're all claiming to be afraid of us. They claim that is it safe to be at City Hall? Right? This is, again, the criminals, the perpetrators, calling the victims scared. And we have to stop buying this. We have to keep pushing these people because in the last few months, we've had Patrick Timmons, we've had Andre Black, we've had, what else have we had?
That's one of the problems.
It's hard to even keep track
counting.
because these things happen so fast. And yet, so Moose Hayes was murdered just a little bit over 2 years ago. It seems like a million years ago. Shelley Hall Morgan, I just went and visited today at the flea market in North Portland. It's her birthday today. Her son, Bradley Morgan, was killed 8 years ago. She is every bit as sad and destroyed today as she was then. And I spoke to her partner, her husband, for the first time. Usually the men disappear. The grief is too much. It tends to be the women that coalesce and keep coming out and keep fighting. They're not afraid to cry and scream and do those things in public that we want to do when we lose a loved one. And it was really exciting because he told me today, he said, I want to talk to you now. He said, I haven't been ready, but I've got a lot of stuff that I want to say. And I said, wow, that would be amazing to hear from one of the male family members, because this destroys families. This is a nuclear bomb on your family. And I beg you, don't accept the police narrative anymore. They're killing us, they're killing our children, and I guarantee you, just as Dr. Lawson guaranteed, I guarantee you we will either have increasing peace where our civil rights are once again valued and that the police are not murdering us with impunity, or we will have civil war. It will be one or the other. Because I work with these families, and let me tell you, it's 51-49 when they kill your loved one. Whether you go through the peaceful route or you burn the motherfucker down, right? Imagine somebody taking your loved one, right? And we can get all our hackles up and everything. Now, we're peace advocates. We want peace. So how do we fight for peace? I'm going to argue that Dr. Lawson had it right, so did Gandhi, and so did Martin Luther King, civil disobedience. I think we should all be sitting in Ted's office and shut it down till it leaves. And anybody that wants to do it with me, I've already got plans to do it. So Getting arrested is part of the price we pay, and fighting the system openly and with justice.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that made sense. That made a lot of sense. That made sense when I did that. Hmm. It's a good thing Pedro told everybody I'm not a writer. It's a good thing. Good thing he let everybody know that. I hope he never figures it out. You think he'll figure it out? No, no, no. It gives you good film of murder, though. If you want to see some good film of police murder, they get you real good film of police murder. But the police own the footage. So at the end of the day, nobody ever sees anything that the police don't want them to see. And even if they do, everything's open to interpretation. Everything's open to interpretation. Your eyes could be deceiving you. You think you're seeing something. You think you're seeing a murder, but you're not. They had to do it. See, you can't. The problem with police cameras is that it doesn't matter what happens. The only thing that matters is what's in the police officer's mind. And if the police officers think they're being a good police officer in the moment, they have qualified immunity to do anything up to and including kill the person. So the only exception of that would be like some kind of complete negligence, like you see where that guy was kneeling on the neck of George Floyd, and somebody's gonna go, look, you like that's no procedure. That's not a cop procedure. You're not allowed to like kneel on somebody's neck till they die. That's gonna be a bad one. So they're gonna sacrifice that guy at some level. But overall, they can kill anybody they want. They just have to do it quickly. They just have to shoot them and get it over with. They can't just like slowly snuff them out in front of everybody because that's just bad PR. But in general, they can kill anybody they want, and it's all good. All they have to do is think that they need to do it in the moment. And how do you prove somebody didn't think whatever they were thinking? I mean, you can't. It's impossible. They got an unbelievable Stanford standard. They've got a license to kill us, given by us, by our own government. It's a license to kill us all. It's the way it is. It's real bad. It's real bad. You don't want to do that. You don't want to give people license to kill you, in my opinion, especially people that you don't trust. And I don't trust any of these guys. Well, that's not true. I mean, I don't trust the institution. I don't trust the institution, and they're trapped in an institution that's very poisonous. It's a brotherhood. They have to cover for each other. They're not allowed to tell the truth. You're not allowed to be anything other than what you are, which is a member of the cops, which is the biggest, baddest gang on earth. So, how about that? So let's see. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments? Anybody want to like talk to me or anything? I mean, we're just hanging out at this point. I don't have anything particularly interesting for you. And rarely do I just hang out with no agenda. I'm usually bang, bang, bang. I got so much material. I'm just gonna give you lots of material, and I'm gonna laugh with the Keevers and do all kinds of stuff that's all whippity snappity, fun and entertaining. I hope for the most part, but I'm not trying to be entertaining right now. Being unentertaining, purposefully unentertaining, just for the hell of it. Mhm. Mhm. Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed mind. Oh, Lord, yeah! Politicians hide themselves away. They all started the war. Whoa. Why should they go out and fight? Leave the road to the poor. Yeah. Time will tell on their powered minds, making war just for fun, treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till judgment day comes. Yeah. When darkness world starts turning, ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power, and the God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On the knees, the war pigs crawling, begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughs and spreads his wings. Oh, Lord, yeah! there you go. There's some entertainments. Yeah. So here's the thing about law enforcement officers. They have the ultimate privilege because they enforce the laws, and they rarely, unless forced to, traffic stops and such, they rarely enforce the law on each other. It's designed to apply mostly to the criminal class, not the wealthy people, not the people uh, that have any type of privilege or status in society. It's designed mostly to enforce laws against the criminal class, whites, and the black and brown people, and all that kind of stuff. If you go inside any of the jails and prisons, you'll see that's true. That's a fact. Yeah, qualified immunity kills. Qualified immunity is the right to kill any of us. That's what it is. We's all the war pigs. We's all the war pigs. Well, what else? Anybody got any questions or requests or thoughts or criticisms? Solutions to the problems of mankind? Words of peace? Products of the patriarchy? Yeah, that's right. It's a boys' club. Oh, God forbid you're a woman that survives in the police. Woo! Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Women in the police force, man, are they exposed to a whole bunch of shit. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it, and nobody will ever talk about it. But man, you don't want to be a woman in the cops. Uh, and then when you sue the cops, if you ever try and stick up for yourself against abuse, if you're a woman, they're going to come after you, right? Then it's all you. It's on you. You're the person. You're the problem. You don't want to be a woman in the cops. You don't want your daughter in the cops. Hey, Stephen Arrow, how's it going, man? We're just hanging out. We watched an interview that I did in June with Rachelle Dixon, who's one of my closest friends here in the world of the Earth and the universe. And she and I spent Saturday together in June and hung out all afternoon, and then went and did a podcast, and we were all real tired, but it still came out real good. It still came out real good. It was a good conversation. We can just talk forever, so it was fun. And then I just did a rendition of War Pigs, which is probably real bad because my voice is all scratchy and I'm all tired, and my testiculars are real low. I couldn't even figure out what range to destroy it in because I don't practice. But I like that song. That was the Black Sabbath version. My testiculars are real low today or tonight. Real low. So the Pedro, somebody said Pedro made a new video. I'm pretty sick of the Pedro right now. Yeah, another crazy Pedro video. Oh, goodness gracious. Pedro. I'm going to do with that boy. He refuses to learn. He's intentionally ignorant, that one. Coach Lion King has a new vet. Tip warning update. What's a tip warning update? I don't know what a tip warning update is. Do I want to know what a tip warning update is? I don't think I do. Not at the expense of having to watch a Pedro. No, I'm not willing to pay that price. That's too high of a price. I can't take no more. Wonder what that bastard. Let's spy on the. Let's run train on Glitch Dash for a minute. Let's run train on Glitch Dash. He's going to be pissed when he finds this out. He's going to be so pissed. This will be great. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't know I didn't think of this either. Oh yeah, we are laughing. Oh, it looks like he just came back.
So we're at Arby's now. It's gonna be like 9 and some change for like I think it's like
Entertain
about a mile down the road.
us,
So JTB,
clown.
we're laughing at you live. Okay, cool.
What's the worst
Somebody's
place
got to
to
laugh
pick up
around here,
from?
man. Laugh or cry. Those are your two options.
Nick D's axe. Whoop. Silence that guy. Entertain us, clown, I said. Give him some love. Make sure we like this stream. This is great.
Entertain us, clown. Dun, 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 dun.
See, he's doing it for us. He's doing us a whole thing. Look at that. The Glitch Dash is performing just for us.
Oh yeah, I got my hotspot back on. No, I was forgetting something.
Let me ask Thomas a question, see if he'll tell us something. Hey, tell us how much you made. He's getting all sniffy on us. And tell us how much you've made and how.
See where I broke my nose?
Is. Okay. So I sent him a question to see if he'll perform for us. Yep. Thomas is out there still getting the money for us. Thomas out there
Well,
still.
he moved his head to apply the chapstick instead of his hand. That's wild. I didn't even realize that. Leviticus, welcome to the channel.
See if he answers our question. We're faithful viewers.
Tell us how much you've made and how the shift is. Let's see. What am I up to so far for the day?
There you go, McGee's axe.
Let's see. It's not letting me see.
Now we're getting him. Stealing his viewers.
Oh, 127.29. Okay. That's
Nice.
where I'm at.
127.29. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's before gas.
And that's just Uber Eats because he doesn't have the DoorDash.
Got 194 miles on the odometer. I'll say, let me pull up Walmart Spark because I made some money on Spark as well. New strat unlocked. Okay.
Yeah, we're cheating on the glitch dash. That's the point, though. The point is we like to pirate other people's content. That's the whole point. We're running train on him in absentia.
Cool. All right. Reconnected here. What did I make on Spark? I did 29.47 on Spark. So, how's the shift going? It's okay, I guess. Wish I could make some more money. But
I told him that people want us live
it's all
together
good.
at some point.
A lot of wolves in sheep's clothing, in my opinion. He made $6.99.
I said, they feel like we're cheating. I'm like, hell yeah, we are.
The people want us live together at some point. Yeah, I know.
Hell yeah, we are cheating on you. They feel like we're
There's a few
cheating on
shows
you.
I've been meaning to schedule appearances on. I feel like we're cheating on you. I don't know about all that.
I think he's all right with it.
Wonderful night. God bless.
I think this boy's a unicorn. I think this boy's a unicorn. Let me ask him if he's a unicorn.
All right.
Are you a
Here, hit
unicorn,
confirm, swipe,
sir?
confirm pickup.
Are you a unicorn, sir?
All right. Half a mile away. Here we go.
We're gonna hang until he answers this damn question. Gonna haze him with everybody go to Glitch Dash now and put unicorns in his thingy. Everybody bail on my chat, go to Glitch Dash and let's unicorn bomb him. Let's unicorn bomb the Glitch Dash. Okay, this is Project Unicorn Bomb the Glitch Dash.
$28.08 for 20 miles one way into a lifeless dead
The
stone.
glitch.
$28 for 40 miles.
Let
Did
him
you
have
do
it.
it?
Give him a
not.
torpin.
I'm not
Give
doing
him a
it.
torpin. Give him a good torpin. Give him popcorn and unicorns.
$28.
get
No,
popcorn, too.
that location, that's a Wendy's. That's still open.
Hey,
28
this
bucks
guy.
for 40 miles, man. I don't know. Are you a unicorn, sir? Many people have speculated. Many have speculated. Your car is awesome. I'd hang on to that as a toy car. Yeah. Yeah, it's about to be a classic.
Yeah, you gotta
Couple more
find your
years here.
unicorn. You gotta get
One
your
more
You
year.
gotta get your unicorn.
2001.
Hit them hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to drive, but
Humiliate
it's
'em.
also a lot of hassle. It's caused me a lot of hardship,
Yeah, don't get divorced over a car.
stress,
Choose
pain,
wife over
copious
car.
amounts of pain.
Oh, nice
Because of
job,
this car.
Ken. Nice job, Ken. We're trolling you. We
This is
are
a vehicle that is associated with great
torquing you.
misery.
we're torquing you.
Many tears have been shed within the interior of this vehicle.
Ah, bitch.
Choose wife over car, exactly. It's already a done deal. She said that we're getting rid of this car, and that's what we're doing. So I am inclined to agree.
Wife over car.
At the
Wife
end of the
over
day,
car,
it's
says
just
Jeff.
more trouble than it's worth. But
Always wife over car. No offense
still
to the
gonna
car
keep driving
guys.
it.
Go
In
for
the
the wife.
meantime,
Stick with the wife.
I'm pretty sure I dropped off at this place before.
Yeah, the
Seems
unicorn.
familiar.
Elusive unicorn bangers. Yep, Kent's my only good cult member. Kent, you're gonna be, but you see, when we go all crazy, when we go all really nutty, you're gonna have
Hello,
a special
Kenters.
place. You'll get like front row seating, Kent, in the cult.
Apparently, I'm the only one who listens to your commands, Jeff.
We're unicorn banging, Thomas. Oh, well, good job, Kent. You're getting a front row seat for the cult. Front row seat at the end. Front row seat. Now, see, this is the life of a professional. I hate delivering at night, man. You got to have a good flashlight if you're delivering at night. That's a key. You got to have a spotlight if you're delivering at night. If you're delivering at night without a flashlight and a spotlight, you crazy. You got to be able to see what the hell you're doing, or you can get yourself killed. Nice. Oh, nice. Nice. Somebody told to create a glitch account. That's beautiful. Oh, man. So good. Nice work. Whoever did that is, I'm a big fan. Please troll me too. Nice. So good. Nice. Get some uni. Some uni. What do you think? Ketters? I should call you Ket. Why don't I call you Ketters? That's kind of good. Ketters. Oh, I know who you are. I know who our favorited women is. Sounds windy and cold there. Sounds windy and cold as shit. Damn. It's nice here today. Fish 100% piggy snout. That's nice. Nice, Joshos. That's about it. I mean, you know, that's like
Sounds
what
cold.
it used
Yes,
to
it
be all the
is.
time.
Mid-30s. Bitch.
He's liking the
Squint in the
trolling.
dark just like me. Yes. Visually impaired.
How you like us now? Yeah, you know, so, you know, it's
How do
funny.
you like us now? I don't.
He doesn't like it. He's pissed off now. He's real angry.
This
Real
gang
angry.
stalking will not stand.
Yeah. We popcorned him. We popcorned the crap out of him. Emojis kill. Uh, yeah, Kennerstown's pretty good. Kenner's is cute. Kennerstown's cute. Yeah, so chow shows like that was pretty good. 200 was a good day. My minimum that I would ever go home with, I just kept going until I hit like 160. That was pretty comfortable. And then, if I wanted to push a little bit, I'd get to 200, but that was just pretty aggravating. And I do 160, in like 7 hours or something. I don't know. That was 7. Yeah. I think he likes that we told him to promote because I think that made him real happy. I just always figured as long as I was gross, because I tried to keep my mileage down, as long as I was gross, over $20 an hour, $22 an hour, that was just as good as it could get. I couldn't make it go any higher because it just wouldn't give you any more business than that for the most part. You might have an hour or two that was good, but if you're going all day, it's going to average you out. It's going to freeze you out for an hour or two or give you a real downtime. Yeah, it'd be tough to you would really not wanna be, you wouldn't wanna be isolated on one app like I was for 2 years, but I quit a year and a half ago, I quit doing DoorDash. I don't think I would have been able to survive much longer just doing DoorDash alone. I doubt I would have, and I didn't have any other apps, but actually, I think, yeah, I mean, I looked at them, I never did, I never wanted to, and I certainly wasn't gonna do any rideshare. That's not the right choice for me. But Chester's looking real good without his beard. He looks like he had a really good vacation. He looks like he had a real good vacation. He's all
All right, here we
relaxed
are at the
and happy
Denny's.
and healthy. I'm real
Let's
happy for him.
stop and
He
chill
looks
here
real
for a
good. He
second.
was working so
Take a little
hard.
pee glitch.
He was working so damn hard before he took that time off. He was working himself to death. I mean, the guy. I'm maybe working myself a little bit to death. Uh, but hopefully not too much. But he was really pushing it, getting orders hard downtown, and that sucks. Yeah, I know. That's the other thing. If you got to go to areas where there's no good parking or stuff like that, downtown Bloomington, man, there were places I just wouldn't go because it was just bullshit. It was just bullshit. Like they want you to, there's nowhere to park, and then you're supposed to pick up from the kitchen window down the alley. It's like fuck that, and the shit's never ready or anything. Fuck that. It's terrible. It was bullshit. Since they got us capped at throttle, it's a matter of doing the hours. There are no lucky days. You run away. No, no, there's no nothing. No, exactly. And in fact, a lot of times, like they got me down one time because I would always do that. And then like there was a couple days where it was just dick. Like I went out like the first 3 hours. There was like I did like 2 orders in the first 3 hours. I'm like, these guys are just fucking with me. I'm like, I'm just going home. Like there's just nothing. And there was a few days like that, even a week like that. It just made no sense whatsoever. I don't know. I've had so many weird things that make no sense because markets don't move like that. Like markets don't just yeah, okay. We will we'll make peace. I'll tell him that I love him after all of this. I think he liked it a lot. I think that made him feel special. We all gotta troll each other properly, or you don't know that you're loved. Oh, is our friend Cerberus? Yeah. Oh, interesting. What is this? Yeah, let's leave YouTube. People with poor speech etiquette always use these 7 rude phrases, said a public speaking expert. Interesting. Okay. Is one of them bitch? Uh, when I try to, Stephen Arrow says, when I try to dirty multi app, I always risk my accounts. Last time I did it, I was getting this enough money, but I ended up with a DoorDash terms of service violation, excessive late delivery, 22 minutes, 2 minutes too much. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think in all my DoorDash deliveries ever I had a late delivery. But of course, I never dirty multi-apped or did any shenanigans. I just did the stuff. Do your kids ever listen to your lives? And so, what do they think of? I've showed them a few things, and they think it's real funny because I'm their dad. But no, they're not much of an audience for me. Like I've been their dad their whole life. They kind of get it. They get the shtick. They got it. It's down. We laugh our balls off when we're, we laugh ourselves silly when we're together. But yeah, they don't. I mean, they check it out, and Ryan thinks it's real cool that we use his music, right? The lead-in music is Ryan's music. He's recording an album right now, so that's real cool. But no, they don't. They don't consume the most of the material. They're real busy. My daughter's a NICU, neonatal intensive care unit nurse, and my son's a busy guy, and they got a lot going on. They don't have time to like watch their dad do a whole bunch of stuff. But they're great. They're the best. I love them. Nobody likes to watch their dad. Probably. I don't know. DoorDash gives you 2 orders every time. Now always a shitty order stacked with a decent order. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, exactly. They're always playing games with you. Now, you can go in and like decline one of the orders and not decline the other. There's all different ways to do things. I don't know what's going to get people in trouble or what's not going to get people in trouble. But everything is averaged out anyway, right? But why take anything that's attached to a sub average or a money losing order? I just wouldn't do it. I'd just be like, I just can't do it. You can't take money losing orders. Yeah, Stephen Arrow's probably saying the same thing. I don't take no stacks from DoorDash. One is always a no tip hiding in there. I will consider add-ons. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of how I see it, Steve. They got to give me a good. It's got to be all good orders. It's got to be a good initial order and a good add-on. These things they used to try and tack on in like a $2 add-on. I'm like, I wouldn't spit on your driveway for $2. That's not going to work. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't like lift a fingernail just out of principle for you for $2. Worked in NICU as an RN too. I hope that's no kidding, Kent. That's right. That's her dream job. She loves it. She loves it. How about that, Kent? How about that? Yeah, stripper twerk for you today. That's excellent. Okay, yeah, that's better than anything I had. But yeah, that's real cool, Ken. That's real cool that you were a NICU RN. Yes, that's what she does. Used to oh, okay. So Stephen Arrow, there you go. Stephen Arrow said, used to be able to delete the bad one. Used to be able to delete one of them or cancel one of them, and he says now you can't, which makes sense because otherwise people would just delete the dog shit and keep the other one. Let's see what this thing says. People with poor speech etiquette always use these 7 rude phrases. Says public speaking expert. This is from yesterday. Not that it's so timely. Do you want to? Here's the thing, right? Well, figure out a way. It is what it is. Yeah, I get it. Way too many people bullshit is what it is because rarely things really are not what they are. Really, nothing is what it is, and nothing is obvious. Yeah, that's another good one. Uh, if you want my honest opinion, yeah, that's right. That's a qualifier that you don't normally need if you tell the truth all the time. Well, figure out a way. Yeah, that's what stupid people and assholes tell you when they just want you to do stupid things. It's just like do it. Right? Yeah, so confirmation bias. They're just giving you the answer. Here's the thing. Yeah, that's a Pedro. Do you want to? Yeah, that's a Pedro. Yeah, Pedro would do all these. These are all Pedros. These are all Pedros. He's awful. That's a good one. That's good stuff. I'll buy that. Never take a subpar out on it. Doesn't matter if it's on my route. Yeah, fuck them. Exactly. Yeah, there's nothing on your route enough to do for dog shit. There's nothing that far on the route. Again, like you shouldn't just. Nobody deserves your courtesy for a $2 payment. Nobody deserves anything for a $2 payment. They can find. I guess DoorDash needs to start deploying more robots if they want $2 deliveries. They better be get themselves a fleet of robots or something. I suppose. Not going to be able to afford humans to do it for $2. Guess they better get some robots. They will. They will. But then they have to defend the robots with the robot dogs, and so you're going to get shot by a robot dog. Uh, I was transition nurse primarily we present was present in all the deliveries. You would not believe how unsafe hospitals are at Flores, especially. Yeah, yeah. This is a real good hospital that she's at. The real good, real good. One of the like world class, um, level one stuff. So it's a real good thing. She doesn't work in the deliveries. She works in the unit itself, taking care of the little babies, the little teeny babies. Steven, do you do Spark or Grubhub? Grubhub, 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 Grubhub. Oh, there's more train on this guy. All walkers are sniffers who hate them desperately need a special, desperate for anyone. What does that say? Oh, okay, this is good. Okay, we got to share this. There we are. Sorry about that. Okay. You can talk to us. We are good listeners. Okay, I told them we're good listeners. I told them we're good listeners. Let's see if it works.
You can talk to us.
We're good
Good
listeners.
listeners.
Yeah, see? See?
Oh, okay.
He says it's all good. He's got a lot to say tonight. He's more boring than I am.
Words with sounds that mean things.
Boy, his car's loud right now. Wonder if he's got his snow tires on. Or no, or maybe the roads are icy or something. That's a pretty loud car noise for him. It's usually not that loud. Why are so many gig workers want to be ball washers for fart sniffers who hate them? Oh, that's a good question. That's good because they desperately need a special hug. Yeah, desperate for anyone to save them. Yeah, want to be fart sniffers themselves. Yeah, that's true. All gig tubers are stock accounts. I like that one. Yeah, I think that's my favorite. I like that one. I'm going with the stock accounts. I'm gonna tell him I went stock account.
Went stock count? Yeah, I figured. I figured as much. That makes sense.
Because Steven says he did Spark for a year, but he can't take it anymore. Can't take no more shit. I'm telling you, the glitch dash is looking good. Oh no, yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, Steven. I do okay on DoorDash now in the platinum tier. Sorry, I won't hold it against you, Kenners. I will not hold it against you, Kenners. But they have been capping at $23 to $25 an hour now. Yeah. Well, they got to spread it around. Remember, the more slaves they got on for capacity, the better they are. So the less of you, the more of you are out there scrapping, the better off they are from a capacity standpoint, and the more dog shit they'll be able for you to get you to take. So they always want a supply of drivers that will be sufficient for them to exploit. They never want to put few enough drivers on the road that you're going to exploit the system. You can't exploit the system. Their system is unexploitable. It's not a market you can take advantage of. You're just a pawn. We're just human avatars for an AI system. We just drive around and we think we're doing stuff, but we're just game pieces. Thomas's car sounds a lot better than Pedro's piece of shit. Yeah, at least the motor doesn't rev so loud you can't hear anything. But the road noise was just loud there for a minute. He's probably just on some rougher roads because it sounds better now. He was just on rough roads. Thomas sounds like a window is down a bit. Pedro's car sounds like
Alright,
he
here we
needs a
are
new
back
fucking
with
muffler.
DZ.
Can't hear nothing at all. That's what I know. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I couldn't hear shit.
Looks like there's a line formed there. There's orders going out. They ain't giving them to me though.
It's good spying on this guy. I like spying on this guy. He spies on
Chill
me all
here
the
for a
time.
second,
It's
see
good to
what
get him
happens.
back. It's good to get some retribution. I told him we're enjoying the show.
We are enjoying the show. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
He watches our show. The least we can do is watch his show, right?
Says here right quick.
It is the network of the
Look at
network
this
of
shit.
the aisle. Oh, that's a good one. Go get it.
It's so wild, bro.
Three
They want to
seventy-
drive all that way just to like, you know what I mean?
373.
Like, look at this,
See, it
man.
doesn't even make any sense.
It's like
It
you're
doesn't
just
even
like
make
a
any
few, you
sense.
know what I mean? It's like less than a mile down the street. Like, go take a fucking walk, loser. When will it ever end? What are we talking about? Oh yeah.
Hey, Brad, how are you?
Jiminy Chillikers, folks.
Got a big glass of water for Thirsty Thursday. It's actually midnight. It's midnight for those of you on the East Coast. Welcome to tomorrow. And it's 8 minutes away from 420 somewhere. So if you've got your stuff and you want to smoke it with me, we are 8 minutes away from celebrating 420. We'll tell Thomas that. Hey Glitch. Hey, we 8 minutes from 420. 17 miles for 770. That's a good offer.
Crazy.
That's a good offer.
That's so crazy, bro. Look at that.
There you go. Wind down and have a little smoke with us. Yeah, see, but that's
We
the
8
thing.
minutes for 420. Well, you're 8 minutes behind then.
He's confusing me. I think he's mind bending me. Yeah, don't pee the bed. Don't pee the bed. We don't want to be responsible for you
So-
damaging things.
so
I don't have, my
condescending
umbrella.
like that,
my
you know?
umbrella policy doesn't cover that. My umbrella policy doesn't cover bed
Never
pee.
mind. So I should lose money on it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, see that sucks though. Why should you go out and have a shitty day dashing? Why should you have a shitty work day? Who goes out and works all day and has a shitty work day? Shouldn't you have a good work day every day? I mean, theoretically. That's just balls. It just is stupid. It's fucking stupid.
It's just after midnight here. It is officially the weekend. Once again.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. I like that fact. I think that's good. Otherwise, well, I'm going to be a mushroom. Otherwise, I'm going to be a fungi. Otherwise, just get a mushroom suit. And then they bury you in a mushroom suit and you become a fungi.
The glitch is still alive. Oh.
Oh, glitch life, baby. Glitch bitch.
5 orders and 47 bucks. Vacuum for the win.
Oh, that's nice. Somebody made a glitch bitch account, and that's real good. Glitch life, glitch bitch.
Vacuum. Still trying to figure that out. I need to be coached. How much?
That's
free.
real good. Everybody wants to be a coach now. Everybody's getting into the coaching business
What do you
these
need to
days.
coach on?
I want to be a coach
you
too.
looking for?
Be a YouTube coach. I'll coach you to be on YouTube. Teach you how to start your camera. Plug in a microphone into your USB port.
Glitch life. Glitch bitch. True.
Good point. I troll the hell out of this guy. He's the only guy I troll on the internet, but I troll him real hard. I troll him real hard.
Back to the crib here.
Always go back to the McGee's Axe.
Just waiting for another order to come through.
What time zone are you in, Brad? What time zone are you in? It's only 9:15 my time. I can't even go to bed yet because I took a good nap. If I go to bed, I'll go to bed too early. Then I'll wake up at fucking 3 in the morning again. I don't want to do that. I woke up at 5 this morning and I thought it was 6, but that was good because we ended up having a good show. If you watched the show this morning, we had a lot of real good stuff. We had Brian on there. $200 for Rick today. Nice. Okay, Phoenix. Because you guys don't do daylight savings time, right? You're too smart for that. You just stay the same time zone all year. If I remember correctly. You hanging out? You making that big money with Jacob Warren, making $700 a day or whatever he does, $7,000 a day, $70,000 a day, whatever he's producing. He's killing it. He's killing it. Yeah. It all goes in phases. It all goes in phases. You know, it's a good. Look, it's good work if you can get it. If somebody's going to pay you to consult with them, it's good. The problem is, as a consultant, because I've been a consultant, I could show you my my LinkedIn as being a consultant. You gotta have
55 cents for 8.8 miles.
You gotta have, as a consultant, you've got to have so much credibility. Like, do you know how much credibility I have to like not be part of somebody's business and go strolling into their business and just go like, here, I'm going to talk to all your executives and I'm going to tell you what to do with your business and you should trust me. Like, you have to have a lot, you have to have a lot of credibility to do that, right? You have to have a lot of experience and you have to have qualifications. You have to have everything else. You're just going to look like a fucking clown. You're just going to just be in over your head. And so, yeah, it's not as easy to like be a coach or a consultant as people. Dilbert, who turned out, that Scott Adams guy turned out to be a real fascist dipshit. The guy that wrote Dilbert, he turned out to be a real fascist dipshit. But that's not the point. He had a real funny. He had a really funny one with the dog or something that he said consult was a combination. Being a consultant was a combination of con and insult. And it was you con and insult people, and that's what a consultant is. And so Pedro's a consultant. Pedro's a consultant. He cons and insults people. Yeah, Uber's real. Well, I don't know what's worse. Yeah, I'm taking your word for it. But DoorDash Rick says Uber is worse than DoorDash with those low offers. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. It's all just such dog shit. I don't even understand. It's just unjustifiable, except the fact that they have plausible deniability that it's a computer sending it to you. At the end of the day, if they ever went to prison, they just go like, "We didn't know. We didn't know. We had no idea. We didn't know." It's just like that dickhead CEO of Lyft that went on the rideshare guy, and he's like, "Well, we talked to drivers." It's like, get the fuck out of here. They're just figuring out their own business. They're just figuring out what you need. They never thought of it before, but now they're going to start. They're going to start figuring out what you need as a driver. That'd be new. That'd be new. Corporate clowns. Yeah, corporate clowns. If you'll sell out your soul, to do dirty deeds, if you'll marry a corporation, name yourself Pedro DoorDash Santiago, you can really break it in, I suppose. be a human product placement. Douchebag, dipshit, bitch.
Okay.
Oh, John Billings is advertising got a lawyer to turn $12 into 20 in
Paid
10
$50 super
seconds.
chat is so stupid. Yeah,
What?
I tend to agree, my friend.
Oh, he's got
Especially
away, not a
because,
lawyer.
YouTube takes
I'm not
30%
wearing
of
my
that.
glasses. I'm sorry.
So if
Wow,
you pay
those
somebody
are
$50
excellent
super chat,
investment turns, eh?
you actually only pay.
Yeah.
See this one?
$12 into
This is
$20
on my
in
blacklist.
10 seconds. Yeah.
I don't care if
don't
it's
know.
$100.
29 miles. Look at this glitch. Look at this glitch dash order. Look at this glitch dash order. That's pretty wild. Check this out.
I don't know. Maybe I should take that. Nice. So if you pay, if it's $100 for 1 mile,
Look at that.
Oh.
1767. 29 minutes. 6.7 miles.
never take an order from this place. Might as well not even be a Taco Bell here. Might as well not even exist. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the super chats. They take 30%. So if you super chat somebody $50, YouTube takes $15 off of that. Just so you know. Samly says 1767 for 6.7 miles. No, it's on my blacklist. That store is a no-go. If you go there, they'll just make you wait for like 45 minutes, and then they'll be like, "Yeah, we don't have the order." And they'll just fucking dick you around, bro. Those fucking your day. Same one. It's off my blacklist. Not happening. Yeah, it's just a trap, bro. It's a trick order. It's an illusion. I'd go in there and pay the workers $30 to make the order. Why the fuck would you do that? What sense does that make, bro? Like you're literally paying money to. It's like that's so stupid. Doesn't make any sense, bro. It's completely insane. It's on my blacklist. Not happening. Yeah, $22.
I'm glad. I'm glad, Brad.
7-Eleven
Thank you.
order the other day. Store's closed. It was a 24 pack of water.
Please stop.
So I went home, got a 24 pack. Wow, really? That's kind of funny.
Yeah, they take
I would not have thought of that.
40% of the regular revenues, I
Funny.
believe. I think they take 40% of the, like, if your channel is monetized, which mine is not, because I've chosen not to do that. They take 40%, I believe.
Or you get a Taco Bell bag from the store and go to the supermarket and make the order yourself at home. That's funny. Nice.
Okay. Well then.
They're just
Well, everybody's that was fun. I wanted to share the Rachelle thing with you. I better not do too much more talking, or I'm not going to have a voice to do a show in the morning. And remember that the Dad Dash Daily show with JTB and Kevin is every morning in the morning, every morning, including tomorrow morning, every morning in the morning, every morning. So that'll be tomorrow. So I better save my voice. I better go to bed. This has been a wonderful 3 hours, 38 minutes, and 42 seconds. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been fun seeing everybody. You know that I will see you early tomorrow morning. Yeah, Rochelle, no problem. Yeah, I will. I told her I sent her some messages, and I'll probably check with her. I may hear from her later tonight. Anyway, I told her that everybody enjoyed her and that we'd love to have her on some more. Night, everybody. Sleep well, sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Watch that glitch dash bastard overnight. Do all those things, and we'll see you in the morning. Night, night.